Chapter 1945. The Ninth Underworld Demon, Sky Heart Demon, and Bright Sun Demon also noticed the situation. They were the strongest, so they could naturally sense the terror of the blood-colored thunderclouds in the sky. There was an indescribable terror in the depths of the clouds. If it descended, it would definitely be a world-destroying energy. Even though they were top-tier great demons, they would not be able to withstand the scarlet lightning. Not to mention, the heavenly tribulation itself restrained the power of great demons. It would greatly weaken their resistance. Damn it! The Bright Sun Demon's eyes flickered. It was unwilling to give up. It wanted to immediately rush up and devour the human, so that it could immediately strengthen its origin energy. The problem was that the human was at the center of the heavenly tribulation. The heavenly tribulation was clearly coming for him. If it rushed in recklessly, it would definitely be treated as a target for the heavenly tribulation. When that happened, it might even be struck to death by the scarlet lightning. For a moment, it was in a dilemma and did not know what to do. As for the Sky Heart Demon, it was extremely fearful. In terms of unpredictability, it was definitely second to none. It was a demon that countless living beings feared. The problem was that it was weaker than all the other great demons in the face of the heavenly tribulation. The Ninth Underworld Demon also felt waves of fear. This was the instinctive fear of the heavenly tribulation. It was engraved deep in its genes. It also wanted to escape immediately. However, the other great demons did not move, so it was too embarrassed to run now. As a top-tier great demon, and the future leader of the great demons, it still had its pride. The appearance of such a huge blood-colored tribulation cloud, even if it was in the deepest part of the demon continent, suddenly attracted the attention of the elders of the Lingyun sect, Five Elements sect, Gui Yuan sect, and Flying Immortal sect who stayed in the demon continent. They were originally sitting cross-legged, but when they sensed the aura of the tribulation cloud, they immediately stood up. What's going on? When did this blood-colored tribulation cloud appear? Why does it seem to emit an ominous aura? The Soaring Cloud sect's elder had a solemn expression. He could sense the extremely terrifying aura of the blood-colored tribulation cloud. Even though the tribulation cloud was extremely far away, it still made him feel extremely threatened. It was as if he would be struck to death by the tribulation lightning if he got any closer. This is scarlet lightning, the heavenly tribulation lightning. It is a tribulation that will only appear when the heavenly tribulation lightning touches the taboo laws of the universe. How can it appear now? The Five Elements sect's elder had a deep understanding of all kinds of heavenly tribulation lightning. He immediately knew that this was scarlet lightning, but the more he knew, the more confused he was. He didn't know why he appeared in the demon continent. Could it be that a tyrannical peerless demon is about to be born in the depths of the demon continent, but because that demon is too monstrous, even the heavens want to kill it? The Gui Yuan sect elder guessed. If that's the case, it's terrifying. The birth of such a demon from the abyss is probably not a blessing for us humans. Maybe there will be another demon saint. The elder of the Flying Immortal sect had a grave expression on his face. What can we do? This is the abyss, and we can't do anything about it. We can only resign ourselves to fate. Maybe that demon was killed by the heavenly tribulation. The Gui Yuan sect elder waved his hand. It's not impossible, but we should be careful this time. If something goes wrong, we must evacuate all the disciples immediately. We can't let them die in vain in this place. The Lingyun sect elder felt that he had to be vigilant at all times. If the tribulation cloud came to this edge, he might have to use the power of the Tianji list to teleport all the disciples away from this dangerous place. By the way, where is fellow Taoist Xia? We have to inform him about this as soon as possible. The Five Elements sect elder remembered the existence of Xia Ping. I tried to contact him just now, but I couldn't get in touch with him. I don't know where he went. The Flying Immortal sect elder wondered. It's impossible for him to not notice such a big blood-colored tribulation cloud. Did he sneak in to observe? It's not impossible, but if it's true, then this action is too reckless. That's the base camp of the demons. Going in is suicide. The Gui Yuan sect elder shook his head. Forget it, this is fellow Taoist Xia's decision. We can't stop him. We can only hope that he's fine. The flying immortal sect elder waved his hand and didn't want to pay too much attention to this kind of thing. After all, Xiaoping was not a member of their flying immortal sect. Heavenly Mystery Board, is communication with the outside world smooth now? The Five Elements sect elder contacted the sacred Heavenly Mystery Board. There's no problem. As long as we give the order, we can immediately teleport all the disciples away. The Heavenly Mystery Board's voice sounded. Very good. Then we'll see how the situation changes. If it's too dangerous, we'll leave immediately. We can't let these young disciples die under such a natural disaster. The Five Elements sect elder said solemnly. Yes, I'll keep an eye on it. The Heavenly Mystery Board said. At the edge of the demonic continent, on a mountain peak, Suji, Jiangyaru, Churong, and Yuchichi appeared here. They were all at the treasure refining realm. Hunting demons at the edge of this continent was like a fish in water. After all, the abyssal demons at the edge of the continent weren't very strong. Only in the center of the continent would there be abyssal demons at the true fire realm, or even the golden core realm. At this moment, they also noticed the blood-colored tribulation cloud that had suddenly appeared in the distant sky. What's going on with that blood-colored cloud? Isn't it a bit too big? It's practically boundless. Yuchichi exclaimed when she saw the blood-colored tribulation cloud. I can sense an ominous aura from the depths of that blood-colored cloud. We can't go near it, or we'll definitely die. Jiangyaru said solemnly. She was very sensitive to danger. I wonder what happened to the demons in the depths of this continent. Such a terrifying blood-colored cloud actually appeared. The demonic continent is really too dangerous. Fortunately, we're only staying at the periphery. Chu Rong rejoiced. Could it be that Xiaoping is in that place? It's said that that bastard became an observer and also entered the demonic continent. Maybe that blood-colored cloud was created by him. Suji guessed. It can't be. No matter how unscrupulous that bastard is, no matter how unscrupulous, no matter how condescending, this is the base camp of the abyssal demons. At this point, Jiangyaru suddenly remembered Xiaoping's character. The corner of her mouth twitched. All right, I admit it. According to that bastard's character, it's not impossible. There's nothing he wouldn't dare to do. Don't worry so much. Let's just quickly kill these low-level demons and earn points. Even if this was done by that bastard, there's nothing we can do. Chu Rong waved her hand. You're right. Yuchichi also felt the same way. It was more important for them to complete this trial as soon as possible. Chapter 1946. Rumble. More and more blood-colored tribulation clouds appeared in the sky, and the clouds became thicker and thicker. At first, they were only a few hundred meters thick, but as time passed, they became tens of thousands of meters thick, almost solidifying. The huge blood-colored clouds surged like mercury, constantly tumbling, like a giant dragon turning over its body. With Xiaoping as the center, the blood-colored clouds in the sky formed a huge vortex that kept spinning, as if the sky had turned into a black hole that would devour everything. All the demons in the abyss could sense how terrifying the power of the heavenly tribulation was in the depths of the vortex. The entire sky had cracked at this moment, and densely packed cracks appeared. These cracks were connected to the depths of the dimension, and the huge power of the heavenly tribulation gushed out from the depths of the dimension. Each crack in the sky was thousands of kilometers long, as if it had torn the sky in half. It was extremely terrifying. What a terrifying heavenly tribulation, scarlet lightning. Just looking at it makes me tremble in fear. A demon lamented as he looked at the tribulation clouds gathering in the sky. I wonder what that human did to actually trigger the heavenly tribulation. I guess even a demon at the peak of the thunder tribulation realm can't trigger such a terrifying heavenly tribulation. Who knows what that human did? Anyway, that human is dead for sure. We don't even need to do anything. He will be directly struck to death by the scarlet lightning and turned into ashes. That's right. Fortunately, it's not targeting us. Otherwise, we would be in danger too. Haha, that kid was so arrogant. He even boasted in front of us, saying that we were the worst batch of demons. Now he's in big trouble. Therefore, people shouldn't speak carelessly, or they will be punished by heaven. Many demons were discussing and rejoicing. Fortunately, The scarlet lightning was targeting that damned human. Otherwise, it would bode ill for them. At the same time, they were gloating and happy to see that humans suffer. Wait, something's not right. What is that human trying to do? He's flying towards us. Some demons immediately noticed the human's actions and quickly became vigilant. They didn't know what that kid was trying to do. Many demons also noticed this situation. They even realized that as the human moved, the huge blood-colored tribulation clouds seemed to be moving slowly as well, following him like a shadow. This sort of situation instantly terrified them to the point their souls almost flew out of their bodies. They trembled with fear and faintly felt that the situation was bad. Stop right there, human. What are you trying to do? This is the territory of us demons. It's a forbidden area. Leave now, or we'll kill you immediately. An abyssal demon shouted angrily, stopping Xia Ping's actions. Brother Yaoma, it can be said that we don't get to know each other after a fight. As the saying goes, everyone within the 4 seas is a brother. When a brother is in trouble, everyone will come to his aid. Xia Ping shouted. I would like to invite everyone to help me get through this heavenly tribulation. Once it is done, I will definitely repay you. Save your ass. Get lost. Get lost. Get lost. I knew this shameless human was up to no good. He even wanted us to help him get through the heavenly tribulation. Why didn't you eat shit? We are demons from the abyss, mortal enemies of humans. Why would we help you? Just give up. You said that all are brothers within the 4 seas? Just now, when you were killing us abyssal demons, why didn't you say you were brothers? Now that you're in trouble, suffering the wrath of heaven, you want to call us brothers? So this brother is the one who stabbed me in the back. I knew that humans were all sinister and ruthless. I didn't expect you to be so shameless. How could you say such things? You even said that you would repay us after the matter is done. Repay your ass. If we really help you get through the heavenly tribulation, most of us will die. How can there be any demons to ask for repayment? Shameless human, get lost immediately. Don't cause trouble here. Otherwise, before the heavenly tribulation arrives, we will kill you first. You'd better behave yourself. Don't make a mistake. Many abyssal demons cursed loudly, spittle flying everywhere. Even if they used their knees to think, they wouldn't agree to this human's shameless request. If that's the case, then there's nothing to talk about. Why do you have to be so heartless? As the saying goes, one more friend is one more way out. With a friend like me, I can guarantee that you will be successful in the future. Xia Ping spread his hands. He still wanted to talk. But at this moment, he looked up and discovered that the red tribulation clouds in the sky could no longer hold back. The huge tribulation power and the lightning power had reached the critical point. Boom! In an instant, in the red vortex in the sky, tens of thousands of bright red lightning bolts fell from the sky, covering a radius of 3,000 kilometers. Every bright red lightning bolt was the size of a 100-year-old tree. They were like coiling dragons, whistling and tearing the void, containing a destructive aura. Just the energy of such a red lightning bolt could easily penetrate a planet. Universal Dharma Idol Taotai. With a single thought, Xia Ping channeled the arcane energy in his body. A Dharma idol of heaven and earth emerged from the ground, transforming into a Taotai. It opened its mouth wide and swallowed all the red thunderbolts around him. Instantly, hundreds of red lightning bolts wreaked havoc in the Taotia's dimension. They were like dragons crashing everywhere, producing terrifying vibrations and exploding powerful collision forces. But under the power of the Taotai, it was of no use. After a few breaths, the red lightning was immediately swallowed and refined by the Taotai. Whoosh! Xia Ping felt a huge amount of lightning essence surging into his body. It was the energy of the bright red lightning. Countless small lightning bolts wandered in his body and crackled. At the same time, the lightning essence surged into the universal Dharma idol in the depths of his sea of consciousness, Kuei. After absorbing the lightning energy, the Kuei's body seemed to become more solid. Some red runes also appeared on the surface of its body, as if there was bright red lightning wandering around in its body. But the group of abyssal demons near Xia Ping were not so lucky. They were not as strong as Xia Ping, nor were they proficient in the Taotia's devouring magic power. They were not even fast enough to dodge. As a result, they were bombarded by bolts of bright red lightning, while they were still standing in their original spots. The abyssal demons let out shrill screams like pigs being slaughtered. They could finally feel the horror of the bright red lightning. This was the real heavenly tribulation lightning. When the bright red lightning entered their bodies, the strong bodies that they were proud of were of no help at all. They were easily penetrated, and the lightning spread throughout their bodies. At the same time, the bright red lightning contained the power of heavenly punishment. It was a great nemesis to the abyssal demon chi in their bodies. Once inside, the huge amount of abyssal demon chi in their bodies melted. But the abyssal demon chi was the foundation that the abyssal demons relied on to survive. It was like a source of energy. Now that it was being destroyed by the bright red lightning, it was no less than someone using a knife to cut off their flesh piece by piece. Such pain could not be described with words. Boom! Chapter 1947. Human fuck your mother. Some abyssal demons cursed. They were so angry that they wanted to tear Xia Ping into pieces and skin him alive. They finally understood that this damned human had suddenly approached them in order to let them share the pressure of the heavenly tribulation, so that they would also be covered by the heavenly tribulation. Because they were abyssal demons, their bodies contained pure yin demonic energy, while the heavenly tribulation contained pure yang tribulation energy. The two sides were mutually reinforcing and mutually restraining. Simply put, they were equivalent to lightning rods. If Xia Ping wasn't the one undergoing the tribulation, the first thing the heavenly tribulation would do would be to kill them. Even though he was the one undergoing the tribulation now, when the lightning descended, a portion of the tribulation lightning would unknowingly be attracted by the abyssal demons and strike them. This would imperceptibly help Xia Ping share a portion of the power of the tribulation. There was no doubt that this damned human was planning to use them as scapegoats. Perhaps this human had suddenly entered the abyss world, and even came to their base camp. His original goal was to use them as scapegoats. Despicable and shameless human, you actually want to use us as scapegoats? You're fucking shameless. Even the abyssal demons aren't as despicable as you, not as insidious, not as shameless as you. As a human almighty, you actually did such a thing. Do you still have a conscience? If we die because of you, we won't let you off even if we become ghosts. Even if we become vengeful spirits, we will crawl out from the depths of hell and find you to take revenge. Many of the abyssal demons cursed. They hated Xia Ping to the extreme. If they had the chance, they would want to tear this damned human to shreds. What joy is there in life? What bitterness is there in death? Xia Ping had a compassionate expression. You're really alive now. But are you really dead now if you die now? How do you know that dying now isn't the beginning of a new life? Those demon brothers seemed to have been killed by the lightning tribulation. But in fact, they had just returned to the embrace of the void of the universe, waiting for the next beginning of a new life. I'm not killing them by doing this. I'm just giving them a new life, a choice to start afresh. Why do you still insist on going about things the wrong way? Can't you see through life and death? His body emitted boundless Buddhist light, blooming with the light of wisdom, as if he was going to deliver all living beings from suffering. Fuck, if I'm not alive right now, am I dead? Damn, this human's mouth can turn black into white and death into life. Hee. So we have to thank you for letting us die. Return to the embrace of the cosmic void? Why don't you return? What the hell are you looking at? Fucking human, I'll give you a new life right now. The group of abyssal demons was instantly enraged. They had clearly caused the deaths of so many of their demon brothers. But in the mouth of this human, it wasn't causing their deaths, but giving them a new life. Now that he said that, the dead demon brothers had to thank him. They had never seen such a shameless human. Instantly, many abyss demons were enraged. They charged forward, wanting to tear Xia Ping to shreds. However, they had only just taken a step forward when the crimson lightning in the sky descended once again. This time, it was twice as terrifying as before, and the area it covered had doubled, covering a radius of 6,000 kilometers. The number of lightning bolts had also doubled. 20,000 bolts of bright red lightning had descended at once. This was to be expected, because this time, Xiaoping had suffered 81 waves of lightning tribulation. Each wave was more terrifying than the one before. When it reached the 81st wave, its power was unimaginable. Dong dong dong. The thousands of abyss demons that had tried to approach Xiaoping didn't know what was happening. They were struck by the crimson lightning, as though they were bathed in a sea of lightning. Ah! They couldn't help but scream as the terrifying crimson lightning invaded their bodies. In an instant, these abyss demons were all killed, reduced to a pile of ash. As for Xiaoping, he was still standing unscathed in the middle of the sea of lightning. In fact, because he had devoured a portion of the lightning essence, his aura had grown a little stronger. Countless lightning snakes swam through his body. Seeing the calm and composed Xiaoping, many of the abyss demons were enraged. This heavenly tribulation was clearly targeting this damned human, but he was unharmed. But they, the abyss demons, had suffered heavy losses. Who knew how many had died? This made them even more infuriated, and they hated Xiaoping to the core. But now they didn't have time to curse this shameless human, because they could clearly sense that the next wave of lightning tribulation was descending. There was almost no time in between. Retreat, retreat immediately. Don't tangle with this human. That's right. The heavenly tribulation is targeting this damned human. As long as we escape from the heavenly tribulation, this kid will naturally be struck to death by the heavenly tribulation. Right, we don't have to fight to the death with him. He's just a dead person. Many of the abyss demons immediately made a decision. They were also cowards. Seeing the outcome of those abyss demons, they decided to flee immediately. So. In an instant, these abyss demons scattered and fled in all directions. They were extremely fast. Still want to flee? Xiaoping couldn't let these abyss demons flee. It wasn't easy to drag some abyss demons down with him. If they all fled, how could they help him share the pressure of the heavenly tribulation? With a thought, he immediately took out a Dharma treasure, the inferior grade sage artifact, the whirling prayer beads. Xiaoping circulated his Dharma power, and a huge amount of Dharma power surged into the depths of the whirling prayer beads. Immediately, he activated the profound arrays in the depths of the whirling prayer beads. Boom! Immediately, a kingdom of Buddha was projected from the depths of the whirling prayer beads. It covered a radius of billions of kilometers and completely enveloped the world within sight. Rays of golden light appeared and shrouded the area like an eggshell. It turned a radius of billions of kilometers into a kingdom of Buddha. Countless Buddhist runes flashed, and golden runes filled the sky. These golden energy shields were extremely sturdy, as though they had formed a domain. Bang bang bang. Those abyss demons that attempted to flee crashed into the golden energy shields. It was as though they had crashed into an iron wall. Instantly, their heads were bleeding and they let out shrill cries. Even some of the stronger abyss demons were dizzy from the impact, because the speed at which they fled was really too fast. The appearance of this golden energy shield was like a high-speed sports car suddenly crashing into a steel wall. Chapter 1948. Low-grade sage artifact. This bastard human actually has a low-grade sage artifact. Some abyssal demons immediately recognized that treasure as the human's famous sage artifact. It was precisely because of the power of the sage artifact that it could stop them from escaping. No matter how strong the abyssal demons were, they seemed to be trapped in this Buddha kingdom. In fact, in the immemorial era, the humans could defeat these abyssal demons because they had all sorts of powerful treasures that could allow them to display combat power that was several times, or even dozens of times stronger than themselves. After all, the bodies of the abyssal demons, their bloodline mystiques, and so on, far surpassed the human race. Without the help of treasures, there was no way they could fight back. But this also made the abyssal demons extremely fearful of the human race's treasures. They were furious. Damn it, what is this human trying to do? What's the point of trapping us? Do you even need to ask? That bastard's goal is obvious. He clearly wants to use us as scapegoats. He wants us to share the pressure of the heavens' tribulation. He wants to drag us down with him. Despicable. It's fine if he dies, but he wants to drag us down with him. Shameless slut. What are you talking about? What dog's hit sage artifact? Break it immediately and escape from here. It's useless. This golden energy barrier is too strong. We probably can't break it in a short period of time. We will need at least 3 days to break it. Fuck 3 days? If we have that time, we would be long dead. We would be struck to death by the lightning tribulation. How can we wait that long? Stop joking. Many abyssal demons gritted their teeth. They tried to break the Buddha kingdom of the whirling prayer beads, but found that the golden energy barrier was extremely sturdy and contained Buddhist scriptures. Once they landed on it, golden scriptures would appear, and countless runes would circulate, easily blocking their demonic arts. These powers couldn't harm the energy barrier at all. Without a doubt, they were indeed trapped in this Buddha kingdom. In the blink of an eye, 100,000 bolts of red lightning descended, covering a radius of 12,000 kilometers. The surrounding abyssal demons couldn't dodge in time and were struck. Dong dong dong. Immediately, tens of thousands of abyssal demons were struck to death. Their bodies shattered and turned to dust. Bastard, fight it out with this human. That's right. Since we can't leave, we can only fight him to the death. That human is the crux of the problem. As long as we kill him, all our problems will be solved. The heavenly tribulation will automatically dissipate, and we will be able to live. Kill this human. The numerous abyssal fiendish demons had been forced into a desperate situation. They couldn't escape, so the only thing they could do now was to fight to the death with this human. Once this brat was completely eliminated, everything would be over. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the blink of an eye, the bear fiend, six-armed lion fiend, three-eyed bear fiend, giant serpent fiend, bronze blaze fiend, hypervenom fiend, and all the other abyssal demons were going crazy. Instantly, rays of terrifying black energy shot over one after another. They intertwined with each other, forming an energy tide that surged over violently, threatening to engulf everything. This was the fury of over 1 million abyssal demons. It could almost flip the heavens and earth and tear apart the stars. Even a peak thunder tribulation realm mighty figure would be instantly obliterated in the face of such a demonic divine ability. Not even their bones would be left. Come on, Scepter of Glory Chaos. With a thought, another treasure flew out of Xiaoping's body. It was a medial-grade sacred artifact he had obtained from the angel race, Scepter of Glory. The scepter floated in front of Xiaoping, spinning slowly. It received Xiaoping's immense spiritual power, and the entire scepter trembled, releasing boundless white light. Rumble! From the Scepter of Glory, beams of white holy light burst out. The amount of holy light was unimaginable. It had already exceeded 1 million beams. Countless beams of holy light rained down, bombarding the bodies of the abyssal demons. The bodies of the abyssal demons didn't resist at all. The white holy light easily entered their bodies and seeped into the depths of their minds. In the next second, the group of abyssal demons was dumbfounded. Illusory images of angels appeared in their minds, using holy light to purify the evil thoughts in their bodies, expelling and purifying all the demonic chi. Instantly, they fell into complete chaos. They couldn't differentiate between friend and foe, and their divine abilities bombarded in all directions. This was the terror of the Scepter of Glory. It could use large-scale mental interference and mind control. Creatures with weaker mental power were directly controlled. Even creatures with strong mental power would fall into a certain period of confusion when facing the Scepter of Glory's attack. Their minds would go blank, and they wouldn't know what was happening. Bang bang bang. Immediately, the many abyssal demons started to be unlucky. They fell into chaos for no reason, and actually attacked their own people. Instantly, the surrounding demons were all attacked. Some weaker abyssal demons were immediately killed. Their corpses were all smashed into pieces. Refine. Xiaoping used the divine ability to devour souls. With his body as the center, a huge whirlpool formed. The soul energy left behind by the dead abyssal demons also quickly surged into his body. After a few breaths, the soul energy quickly condensed into soul crystals. He was really happy to do this, because the soul energy left behind on this battlefield was too great. There were powerful abyssal demons dying at every moment. They were struck to death by the bright red lightning. Otherwise, they would be killed by their fellow demons, who couldn't differentiate between friend and foe. If he had to do it himself, he would probably need to spend a certain amount of time to kill a powerful abyssal demon. But it was different now. With the power of heaven's retribution, these abyssal demons died easier than ants. And the Scepter of Glory's confusion effect only lasted for 3 seconds. Many abyssal demons also quickly regained consciousness. But when they realized what they had just done, they all went crazy. What's going on? Why did I attack my own people for no reason? It's that human. That human did it just now. What did that bastard do to us? Sage artifact. He took out another sage artifact. That sage artifact seems to have the ability to interfere with souls. It can make us fall into a state of confusion and unable to differentiate between friend and foe. Damn it. What's wrong with this human? Didn't they say sage artifacts are very rare treasures in the human world? Why can this kid casually take out 2 of them? That's too strange. What should we do? He has 2 sage artifacts on him. How can we get close? Chapter 1949. Originally, these abyssal demons thought that killing this human was in the bag. After all, facing the attack of so many demons, even a demon overlord would not be able to withstand it and would instantly turn to dust. Who would have thought that this human would have such a strange treasure that could attack as a group, causing them to be in chaos? This greatly reduced the power of their joint attack. In this situation, they were immediately at a loss of what to do. Now they could not escape. Even if they wanted to join forces to kill this human, the problem was that this brat had the glory scepter and could easily break their joint attack. Before they could even get close to this brat, their consciousness would be taken away by the glory scepter again. If that was the case, their plan to get close to this human was not to kill him, but to seek their own deaths. You demons are overestimating yourselves. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back. Even the heavenly tribulation cannot kill me. How can trash like you have such power? Know your place, okay? Obediently become cannon fodder to attract the power of the heavenly tribulation. Maybe when the heavenly tribulation ends, some of you can live. If you continue to resist stubbornly like this, you might even die. Why seek your own deaths? He tried to persuade the abyss demons out of goodwill. Fuck, just now you were acting cool and saying we were brothers. Now you've finally shown your true colors. As expected, he wants us to be cannon fodder to attract the firepower for him. This fucking human is shameless. Shameless human, do such a wicked thing. Doesn't your conscience feel uneasy? But hearing these words, the group of abyssal demons was infuriated. They knew that this bastard human had finally revealed his true colors. He wanted to use the abyssal demons as scapegoats. But thinking of this, they became even angrier. They actually could not do anything to him. Stupid human, you are too arrogant. This is the abyss world, the territory of us abyssal demons. It is not a place for a puny human like you to behave atrociously. At this moment, a terrifying and indescribable voice rang out, shaking the heavens and earth. A gigantic black shadow appeared in front of all the abyssal demons. It was like a 10,000 zhang tall mountain, exuding a terrifying abyssal aura, the aura of the 9 underworlds. It was the overlord of the abyssal demons, the 9 underworlds demon. At this moment, it could not hold back anymore. It wanted to personally attack and kill this damned human. Dong! Tens of bolts of red lightning struck the 9 netherworld demons' body. But the 9 netherworld demons' body only trembled a bit before all the bolts of red lightning dissipated, unable to deal much damage to it. Perhaps there would be injuries, but for a 9 underworld demon with a 9 underworld body, it was nothing. Seeing this, the abyss demons were overjoyed. They finally saw the light of victory. This was because netherworld demons were different from ordinary abyssal demons. They were born from the netherworld abyss, and their bodies were filled with the power of the netherworld. Netherworld astral gale. In an instant, the netherworld demon attacked. With its body as the center, it created a terrifying current of air, as if it was a spatial hurricane born from the universe. This was the 9 nether astral wind that originated from the 9 nether region. It was a terrifying airflow that was enough to blow any expert below the thunder tribulation realm to death and turn them into ashes. Even if a Thunder Tribulation Realm expert encountered the netherworld astral wind, they would either die or be injured. This was because the astral wind not only harmed the body, but it could also destroy the soul, causing double damage. It was indestructible. Whoosh! When the wind blew, the airflow turned into a black astral wind that contained terrifying netherworld energy. It emitted an aura of destruction, corrosion, cutting, and so on. The airflow quickly turned into saber chi, covering the sky and covering the earth. Within a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers, there were black saber lights. No demon could clearly count how many black saber lights there were in the entire world. They could only see that the world was filled with them, as if the land was on the verge of collapse under the black saber lights. The entire land was easily cut open by the astral wind, and countless ravines appeared. It was as if the entire demon continent was being torn apart by the netherworld astral wind. Many abyssal demons were scared half to death, because the black saber lights couldn't differentiate between friend and foe. If they stayed near the saber lights, they would be easily cut in half by the black saber lights. They were so scared that they fled in all directions, so as not to fall into the battle between the two peerless experts and be implicated. Holy light illumination. Xia Ping waved the glory scepter and pointed it at the void. Rumble! Suddenly, thousands of beams of holy light bombarded down, as if turning the entire area into a world of light. The world of angels was enough to purify all the darkness and filth in this world. Vaguely, there seemed to be countless angels appearing in the abyss world. They held scepters, bemoaned the state of the universe, and shone with holy light. They were praising the greatness of the Lord, and countless poems were sung. The holy light also bombarded the netherworld astral wind. The two forces collided fiercely, and a rumbling sound rang out. Both sides had reached the pinnacle of power, and no one could do anything to the other. Suddenly, they were annihilated and disappeared into nothingness. Damn it! This is the sacred artifact of the angel clan. It has a great restraining effect on us abyssal demons. Aren't you a human? Why do you have the artifact of the angel clan? The netherworld demon's pupils shrank. He didn't expect the scepter to be so powerful. Even the netherworld astral wind he had triggered could be easily resisted. It was extremely terrifying. You don't need to know that. The dead don't need to know anything. Glory scepter, holy light punishment. Xia Ping held the glory scepter and pointed it at the netherworld demon. Boom! Instantly, a thick white holy light burst out from the top of the glory scepter. This holy light was boundlessly terrifying. It contained the aura of rejection, destruction, and annihilation. It was a power that could punish everything. This was also the glory scepter's strongest attack. It was like a laser, and it arrived in an instant. Whoosh! In an instant, this light of punishment arrived from afar and tore through the void. Countless angel runes gathered in the depths of this holy light, containing boundless energy. Damn it! The netherworld demon's hair stood on end as he felt the impending danger of death. This light of punishment was extremely terrifying, and it targeted the soul. If his body was hit by this light, his soul would instantly collapse, and even a saint wouldn't be able to save him. Netherworld transformation, illusory and real are mine netherworld body. In an instant, the netherworld demon used the divine ability within his body, and his entire body turned illusory. He turned into a phantom, and a netherworld astral wind immediately escaped. He had actually escaped from the light of punishment at this critical moment. However, the abyssal demons behind the netherworld demon were not so lucky, and they were brushed by the light of punishment. Chapter 1950. You actually dodged it? Xia Ping raised his brows and looked at the 9 underworld demon in surprise. The other party was indeed worthy of being one of the demon overlords. Its ability to change between real and illusory was extraordinary and could not be underestimated. If it transformed into the 9 underworld body, ordinary Thunder Retribution Realm experts would not be able to kill it and would even be slaughtered by the 9 underworld demon. In fact, the 9 underworld demon was famous for being ferocious and had killed countless humans. Once it appeared, rivers of blood would flow, and corpses would be everywhere. Haha, foolish human, you can't kill me, the 9 underworld demon, even if you have a saint artifact. The 9 underworld demons said proudly, "My 9 underworld body is illusory and exists between real and illusory. Ordinary power cannot harm my body. No matter how hard you try, you will not be able to harm me, the 9 underworld demon. But you are different. As long as you make a mistake, I, the 9 underworld demon, will take advantage of it and easily kill you. You will definitely lose this battle. No one will be able to save you." It exerted enormous pressure on Xiaoping and threatened him. It thought that it was already in an invincible position, as expected of the 9 underworld demon, making this human suffer with one move. It seems that there is no need for the heavenly tribulation to kill this human. Lord 9 underworld demon alone can easily end his life. Human, do you see this? This is the demon overlord of our abyss world. It is not something a human tramp like you can resist. Quickly go to hell and repent. You actually dare to come to our abyss world and show off your strength. You don't even know how to write the word death. The demons were overjoyed. They could not wait to see this human die. As long as this human died, the heavenly tribulation would naturally disperse, and they would be completely safe. Humans, surrender. Kneel down and beg for mercy. Become my slave, and perhaps I can still give you a chance to live. Otherwise, you will die without a burial place today. Even a saint will not be able to save you. The 9 underworld demons shouted wildly and continuously attacked Xiaoping's confidence, trying to subdue him without a fight. Fool! You became so arrogant just because you dodged a move. I have many ways to kill you. Xiaoping made a grabbing motion, and another magic treasure appeared in his hand. It was the reincarnation brush. The reincarnation brush trembled, and countless runes flickered on its body. Indistinctly, there seemed to be an illusory image of the great Tao of reincarnation revolving slowly, emitting a mysterious, ancient, and tyrannical aura. The void space trembled. In an instant, the brush lightly tapped the air, and a terrifying sharpness blasted out. It was like a ray of cold light that suddenly appeared in the darkness, tearing through the void. What is this? Immediately, the 9 darkness demons' hair stood on end, as he felt that this sharp light was a great threat to him. It was as if this cold light could tear through everything, pierce through space, and even pull souls into the 6 paths of reincarnation. Sun and moon, heaven and earth, yin and yang rotate, 9 nether formless. Sensing this fatal crisis, the netherworld demon continuously used its innate ability and turned into a strand of black smoke as it instantly disappeared into the void. It was as if it was hiding in a different dimension. But in the next second, that ray of cold light directly tore through the void and seemed to penetrate its very essence, bombarding the body of the 9 underworlds. Immediately, the 9 darkness demon let out a shrill scream as it was dismembered and cut in half. Blood dripped everywhere, and endless pain spread out, shaking even its soul. Impossible! The 9 netherworld demon could not believe his eyes and couldn't help shrieking. My 9 netherworld body is invincible. It's an ethereal body. This is a supreme power that surpasses everything. How can your power harm my body? What kind of magic treasure is this? Why does it have the power to harm my 9 underworld's body? It was insane. The 9 darkness demon believed that it stood at the peak of the universe. Other than saints, nobody could kill it. Even if they could defeat it, they couldn't kill it. Because it could escape at any time, nobody could do anything to it, and nobody could harm its essence. But now, this human in front of it was holding a strange brush. With a light tap, its 9 underworld's body was torn apart, and even its soul was heavily injured. It couldn't help but feel a trace of fear of death, and it was no longer as confident as before. However, being able to harm the 9 underworld's body was normal. The power of the reincarnation brush surpassed everything. It belonged to the essence of power, and it was extremely pure. It could split reincarnation, yin and yang, and cause an effect. Even though it was now sealed, it still contained a sharp power that could cut through all matter in this world. Even illusory matter could be easily cut in half. This was the power of the sharpest magic treasure in the universe. Noisy, who told you that the 9 underworld's body is invincible? You're really a frog at the bottom of a well. Xiaoping didn't waste any words. He lightly jabbed out with his brush again, and several sharp lights blasted out with the speed of a clap of thunder. They were unstoppable and unstoppable. Facing this attack, even if the Nine Darkness demon was at its peak, it wouldn't be able to escape, let alone now that it was heavily injured. Its strength had been reduced by more than half, so how could it escape? Immediately, the Nine Darkness demon let out a miserable shriek. Its body, which had already been cut in half, was struck by the cold light and instantly broke into more than 10 pieces. Blood flowed everywhere. But this time, it couldn't live anymore. It couldn't say anything, because even its soul had been torn into more than 10 pieces. It could never recover. Just like that, the famous Netherworld demon of the Abyss world was killed on the spot. Xiaoping grabbed with his hand, and immediately grabbed all of the 9 underworld demons' energy. He compressed it on the spot, and quickly condensed it into a fist-sized soul crystal. Without a doubt, the soul energy of a 9 Darkness demon was much stronger than ordinary demons. They weren't on the same level. What's going on? The overlord of the demons, the 9 Darkness demon, is dead? Killed by this human and broken into more than 10 pieces? It can't even escape? Many demons were dumbfounded. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Are you joking? The 9 Darkness demon is known as an undying demon. Even in the immemorial era, it was impossible to kill a 9 Darkness demon without paying a heavy price. How could it be killed by this human? What did this human do to the 9 Darkness demon? Impossible, I don't believe this. How could a lowly human kill a 9 Darkness demon? Could it be that we, the demons of the Abyss, have really declined to such an extent that we can't even stop a puny human? He even slaughtered us in all directions. Even the overlord of the demons isn't his match. Many of the abyssal demons went crazy. This kind of reality toppled all of their beliefs, especially when a peak demon like the 9 underworld demon died in Xiaoping's hands. This greatly intimidated the other demons, causing them to lose all their courage. Chapter 1951. Rumble. Just as the abyssal demons were in despair, a huge hand descended from the void. It was a huge hand formed by black flames. It was so huge that it seemed to be able to crush a planet. Many black patterns appeared in the depths of the palm. They were black flame runes, as if they were the source energy from the deepest part of the abyss. Such black flames made the abyssal demons tremble in fear. This was the famous abyss dark fire of the abyss world. It contained terrifying destructive power. Once touched by it, one would be instantly burned to death. Even the soul would be burned until the soul was completely burned. This was the world-destroying fire of the abyss world. Xiaoping also felt the fatal killing intent. He used the Kuanpeng steps. His body flashed, and he instantly left. But the huge black hand slammed down and slammed into the ground. A huge palm that was hundreds of thousands of kilometers wide appeared, flattening the surrounding mountains and flattening them. Huge cracks also appeared on the ground, forming deep and terrifying ravines that were so deep that the bottom could not be seen. At the same time, the abyss dark fire burned around these ravines, melting the rocks and turning them into black lava rivers. They were filled with the aura of destruction, darkness, madness, and other things. This made the abyssal demons' hearts palpitate. Xiaoping looked forward, and immediately saw a terrifying monster in front of him. It looked like a sun, but it was black. There were many tentacles on its body, and it also had 2 eyes and a mouth. Its whole body was burning with black flames. It was like a dark sun hanging in the sky. Bright Sun Demon? Xiaoping immediately saw that the one who attacked him was the famous overlord of the demons. It was a terrifying demon whose combat power was above that of the 9 underworlds demon, Bright Sun Demon. Human, you are mine. I'm going to eat you, eat you, eat you. Bright Sun Demon shouted crazily. There was a violent look in the depths of its eyes. It seemed like it could no longer hold back, and wanted to attack Xiaoping. It couldn't wait to eat Xiaoping's flesh. The source energy of this human was calling out to it. It couldn't hold back the throbbing deep in its bloodline. The reason why it did not join hands with the 9 underworld demon before, apart from its cold nature, was because it wanted to get rid of the 9 underworld demon and devour this human's flesh and blood. Now that 9 underworld demon was dead, it could attack without any restraints. Even if it killed this human, no abyss demon would be able to snatch it from it. Rumble! In the blink of an eye, the countless dark tentacles on the luminous sun demon's body danced in the air. In an instant, flames raged, and each tentacle turned into a dark flaming mountain, hurtling towards Xiaoping. Demonic flame myriad mountains. It was peerlessly violent and attacked with an all-powerful might. It wanted to suppress this human with its might, and it wanted to use absolute strength to completely annihilate this human, burning him to the point not even a strand of hair would remain. As the apex predator of the abyss world, its instincts erupted. Its violent aura scared the surrounding abyss demons into fleeing, not daring to approach. They were afraid that they would be killed on the spot by the bright sun demon and eaten as food. Retreat! Hurry up and retreat! The glorious sun demon is about to go berserk. We can't stay here or we'll be eaten. Countless abyssal demons quickly retreated, distancing themselves from the battlefield. You want to eat me? When did I not want to eat you? Now let's see who is the predator standing at the top of the food chain. Xiaoping sneered, his eyes revealing a frightening cold light. The 100 million golden crow of hell cells in the depths of his body began to boil. Countless blood vessels surged like rivers, and endless flame energy emerged from the 108,000 pores on his body. In an instant, the golden crow of hell runes rapidly condensed, and suddenly turned into a golden crow of hell. Its feathers were burning, and it emitted a noble and ancient aura. Boom! The golden crow of hell moved slightly, opened its mouth, and swallowed the countless flames in the depths of the void. The countless dark flaming mountains in the air instantly collapsed, turning into flame energy and runes that filled the sky, all of which fell into the stomach of the golden crow of hell. In an instant, all the abyss dark flames in the sky were devoured cleanly, leaving not a single drop behind. The luminous sun demon was stunned. It had lived for countless years, and had always stayed in the demon continent. From birth, it was already the overlord of the demons, standing above countless abyss demons. There was nothing that it couldn't burn to death, or destroy with its descending flames. But now, this human in front of it had completely devoured the abyss dark flames on its body, as if he was eating food, completely devouring the flames that erupted from its body. This was simply unimaginable. 6 paths of reincarnation, judgment of gods and demons, spear of the underworld. In that instant, Xiaoping attacked again, activating the golden crow of hell bloodline in his body. Countless dark golden runes surged out, and the golden crow of hell flames gathered, quickly forming a dark golden spear. This was the spear of the underworld. Swoosh! Xiaoping held the dark golden spear, and threw it at the luminous sun demon. It was extremely fast, tearing through the void, like a descendant shooting the sun, carrying a terrifying aura of destruction. The spear flew along, destroying everything in its path. Airwaves surged, shaking the world. Boom! Before the luminous sun demon knew what was happening, its huge body was hit by the spear of the underworld. Its entire body was pierced from the inside out, and a large hole was formed in the middle. In the next second, the aura of destruction within the spear of the underworld exploded, producing a terrifying destructive power that instantly destroyed the luminous sun demon's soul. This was like the judgment of the god of the underworld, directly destroying the luminous sun demon's soul. Arg! At this moment, the luminous sun demon felt intense pain, and only then did it realize what had happened. Fear, unwillingness, and regret finally appeared in the depths of its eyes. But it was already too late. Its huge body had been pierced by the spear of the underworld, and it was torn to pieces. Even its primordial spirit had been destroyed. It was already deader than dead. To be honest, the luminous sun demon was indeed an extremely powerful demon. It was an overlord-level existence. Just its abyss dark flames alone could kill ordinary people if they approached it. Not to mention, its huge body also had the ability to regenerate at a high speed. It was impossible for ordinary cultivators to harm it at all. Usually, killing a luminous sun demon required a crazy amount of human lives. It was impossible to kill a luminous sun demon without the deaths of thousands of lightning tribulation realm cultivators. Unfortunately, the luminous sun demon had met its nemesis Xiaoping. First of all, The abyss dark flames were useless against him. Next, he used the spear of the underworld. This was a mystique from hell, and it targeted the soul. No matter how huge the luminous sun demon's body was, or how fast it could regenerate, it was useless. With just one strike, its soul was destroyed, as if it had been harvested by the god of the underworld. Chapter 1952. The moment the bright sun demon died, many of the abyssal demons were scared out of their wits. Impossible! Even the bright sun demon was killed by this human. This human is only at the middle stage of the transcendence realm. How can he have such power? Damn it! Who's the monster here? 2 overlord-class demons were actually slaughtered by him. Then, which abyssal demon here is a match for this human? Where's Skyheart Demon? Where did he go? Fuck, he ran long ago. It's not your first day knowing that guy. When he's in danger, he runs faster than anyone else. Fucking Skyheart Demon. To think he's an overlord demon. I didn't expect him to be so cowardly. Many of the abyssal demons were so angry their faces turned green. They had been fighting with their lives to block this human's attack. Unexpectedly, that Skyheart Demon had already run away. But there was nothing they could do. To be honest, Skyheart Demon was the strongest among all the demons here. If it wanted to run, no one could catch it. Due to the death of the glorious Sun Demon and 9 Underworld Demon, the confidence of the demons present was completely shattered. No one dared to attack Xiaoping anymore. They all stayed where they were, thinking about how to escape. It was very difficult to unite these abyssal demons. Without an overlord demon to lead them, they wouldn't listen to anyone else. They would be like a plate of loose sand. The spear of underworld is too strong. Xiaoping didn't care what the abyssal demons were thinking. Since they didn't attack, he didn't plan on killing them. After all, he needed these cannon fodder to help him block the heaven's wrath. He was now immersed in understanding the bloodline mystique. He was very grateful that he killed the bright sun demon with one move. He felt that this newly born bloodline mystique, the spear of underworld, was too powerful. It directly targeted the soul. Once this move hit the enemy would definitely die. It was like the god of the underworld descending to harvest the soul. For enemies with powerful physical bodies, this was a natural nemesis. After all, a strong body was useless against the spear of underworld. If the soul wasn't strong enough, it would be harvested. It was like the soul reaper demanding one's soul. Once the spear struck, the soul shattered. Boom! Xiaoping made his move again. With a grab, it was as though he had grasped the yin and yang in his hand. The void around them froze, and the luminous sun demon's corpse, which had been torn to pieces in the air, rapidly knitted itself back together. In the next second, the corpse of the sun demon was refined by the sun furnace. The impurities were removed, leaving behind only the essence. Finally, it turned into a relic the size of a watermelon. The relic condensed from the essence of the glorious sun demon was simply too powerful. Not only did it contain boundless spiritual energy, but it also contained extremely pure fire energy. There seemed to be a bright sun devil living in the depths of the relic. It was deducing all kinds of fire runes and scriptures, as if it could comprehend the origin of all fire cultivation methods in the abyss world. After all, the bright sun demon was a powerful sun born in the abyss world, and was regarded as a substitute for the sun. It was born with a trace of fire divinity. There was an immortal aura in the depths of its bloodline. This was also the bloodline of a divine beast. This would be of great help to Xiaoping in condensing the Golden Crow Hell bloodline. Crash! Thinking of this, Xiaoping did not say anything else. He immediately activated the sun furnace and rapidly refined the relic formed by the bright sun demon, devouring the flames of divinity contained within. In an instant, the relic fused into Xiaoping's limbs and bones. It fused with his magic power, his cultivation method, and even the depths of the Golden Crow Hell bloodline. Countless fire runes from the bright sun demon rapidly passed through his body and surged into the depths of Xiaoping's Dantian energy sea. They rapidly condensed into a flame seed. Pa pa pa! Stimulated by the bright sun demon's origin energy, Xiaoping felt the Golden Crow Hell cells in his body awaken rapidly. Originally, He had already awakened 100 million golden crow hell cells in his body. If he wanted to continue awakening, he would need to expend an extremely large amount of energy. Awakening was also extremely difficult. However, after obtaining the origin energy of the bright sun demon, the flames of divinity, it was like pouring oil on a fire. It was as if he had eaten a complete tonic. The enormous golden crow hell cells were awakening rapidly. 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, 70 million, 100 million, 100 million, 130 million. In the end, he had awakened 200 million golden crow hell cells. In other words, he had awakened 300 million golden crow hell cells. What a powerful bloodline power. Xiaoping felt that after awakening 300 million golden crow hell cells, his strength had increased by leaps and bounds. He had reached a whole new level. His control of the golden crow hell powers had become even more perfect. His eye of hell, eye of the golden crow, wings of the golden crow, heart of the golden crow, claws of the hell, spear of the infernal deity, and all of his other bloodline divine abilities had been upgraded by leaps and bounds. Even more unknown golden crow runes appeared in the depths of his blood, causing his blood to appear dark gold. It seemed to be giving birth to traces of an undying aura. This was the initial characteristic of a mythical creature. In the distance, many abyssal demons had noticed this as well. Their expressions were grave. They could feel that the human in front of them seemed to have turned into a giant furnace, emitting boundless heat. He was like the blazing sun in the sky, eternal and unchanging. They felt like they would be burned by the heat just by getting close. Countless amounts of abyssal devil energy melted under the heat like snow. Damn it, this human seems to have become even stronger. What's going on? Is there no limit to how much his strength can increase? This is too exaggerated. Some abyssal demons were very afraid. This human was already terrifying enough. Now his strength had increased by another level. His strength was unfathomable. He clearly didn't want them, the abyssal demons, to live. This isn't a human. He's a monster. I've never seen such a terrifying human. His strength is constantly increasing. There's no limit. Many abyssal demons were completely frightened by Xiaoping. Fear was planted deep in their hearts. In the sky, countless red tribulation clouds seemed to sense Xiaoping's aura rising. They became even more furious. This was seen as a provocation against the laws of the universe. Rumble, in an instant countless bolts of bright red lightning descended. It was like a sea of lightning, drowning the entire area. It seemed like it was going to raze this place to the ground and completely destroy it. Xiaoping was in the center of the bright red lightning. He was almost submerged by the tribulation lightning. However, he was neither happy nor sad. His strength was different from before. He had awakened 300 million golden crow hell cells. He was much stronger than before. Dong. Chapter 1953. 3 days and 3 nights passed in an instant. The 81 waves of lightning tribulation were finally about to end. Xiaoping stood where he was, his hair disheveled, his clothes tattered, and many wounds on his body. Blood flowed freely, and he looked very wretched. But he was still in high spirits, and his emotions were not dispirited. After all, he had gone through 81 waves of lightning tribulation, and this still hadn't killed him. This was enough to make him proud. In the sky, the huge red tribulation clouds were very unwilling to give up, and refused to dissipate for a long time. But the power of the heavens' tribulation had already been vented out, and it could no longer strike down. In the end, there was no other way. The red tribulation clouds also quickly disappeared, as though returning to the depths of the middle dimension. At this moment, everything within a radius of tens of billions of kilometers had been bombarded beyond recognition. Countless mountains had been flattened, and there were craters everywhere, like the surface of the moon. Even the surrounding area was filled with the thick aura of lightning tribulation. Even if thousands of years passed, it probably wouldn't dissipate. As for the many abyss demons that Xiaoping had trapped within the range of the heavens' tribulation, they were all struck to death by the lightning tribulation. They turned to dust, and nothing was left. At the start, these abyss demons could still barely hold on. But after the 72nd wave, each wave was stronger than the previous one. This way, the many abyss demons could no longer hold on, and were all killed by the red lightning. As for the 81st wave, its power increased by tens of times, and it was like the end of the world. Only Xiaoping was still alive, and the other abyss demons were all killed. No matter where they hid, the abyss demons were all killed. Before dying, they cursed Xiaoping furiously, hoping that this human would die a horrible death. Unfortunately, no matter how these abyssal demons cursed him, Xiaoping remained unscathed. He was still as lively as ever. Of course, the scattered soul energy of these abyss demons was also devoured and refined by Xiaoping. He condensed them into soul crystals, and they were all stored in the mountain river Pearl. Now he had millions of soul crystals on him. This was an earth-shattering amount of wealth. But the corpses of those abyss demons had all been blasted to smithereens by the red lightning. Otherwise, these corpses would be good materials. It's finally over. Xiaoping immediately breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, the power of the 81 lightning tribulations was extremely terrifying. If he had not devoured the glorious sun demon's origin energy, it would not have been so easy for him. At the very least, he would be severely injured by the 81 lightning tribulations, and he would not be able to recover in a short period of time. Fortunately, he had these abyssal demons as cannon fodder. They helped him share a portion of the power of the heavenly tribulation, which made it much easier for him to pass the heavenly tribulation. Therefore, coming to the abyss to undergo tribulation had great benefits. This feeling, could it be that I'm about to break through? At this moment he was enlightened. He sensed that the magical power and mental energy in his body had almost reached their peak. It was like a water tank that was filled with water and was about to overflow. Dong! A dark golden door in the depths of his mind seemed to have been blasted open by an invisible force, and a huge bottleneck was also broken by a flood of magic power. His magic power cultivation had stepped into a new realm. Late-stage aspect realm. Xiaoping was invigorated. He immediately knew that he had finally broken through to the late-stage transcendence realm. At this moment, all the injuries on his body were healed immediately because of the breakthrough in his cultivation. His essence, spirit, and spirit were almost at their peak, and a strong aura surged out uncontrollably. The strong aura shook the ground under his feet, creating a huge pit. At the same time, countless cracks appeared on the ground, stretching for thousands of kilometers. In fact, breaking through to the late-stage aspect realm was something that happened naturally. After entering the myriad heavens creation map and devouring some ginseng fruits, the huge medicinal power was enough for Xiaoping to improve by leaps and bounds, condensing his magical power to the peak of the mid-stage aspect realm. Now, he had devoured a large amount of soul energy from the abyssal demons, devoured the huge amount of source energy from the bright sun demon, and even obtained the divine flame. With all these factors added together, even though he had 9 purple mansion spaces and needed a lot of energy, it was enough for him to break through to the late-stage aspect realm. Rumble. After the breakthrough, Xiaoping immediately realized that his sea of consciousness had undergone a huge change. First was the 9 purple mansion spaces. Because of the breakthrough in his cultivation, the 9 purple mansion spaces had expanded at the same time. They kept expanding towards the depths of the void, and their volume had doubled. This meant that the amount of magical power they could contain was even more terrifying. At the same time, his soul energy and the power of his consciousness had expanded further, and were much stronger than before. Even his martial path magical powers, magical power talismans, and the 9 heaven and earth dharma forms had transformed. It felt like he had been reborn, and the power of his magical powers had become even stronger. Immediately, he felt that his purple mansion space was empty. Because the area of his purple mansion space had expanded, his magical power hadn't kept up, and there were many barren places. But at this moment, a huge amount of energy immediately surged out from the depths of Xiaoping's body. It was rapidly converted into magical power, and it was frantically injected into the depths of the 9 purple mansion spaces. It was as though magical power was flowing backwards. This was the source energy from the bright sun demon. Although he had refined a lot of it previously, the energy in the bright sun demon's body was too huge, and he couldn't completely digest it in a short period of time. There was still a considerable amount of energy stored in the cells in his body, and he had to constantly refine and absorb it. Whoosh, Xiaoping felt a huge amount of magical power surging into his 9 purple mansions. He immediately felt waves of comfort, like dew after a long drought. The power in his body was immediately replenished. He felt that he was getting closer and closer to the peak of the Dharma form realm. The benefits of obtaining the source energy of the bright sun demon were too great. At least it saved him thousands of years of effort in condensing magical power. It also allowed him to improve at every moment. Whoosh! At this moment, Xiaoping's body immediately felt a bone-chilling coldness. It was as though he had fallen into a world of ice and snow. His body was being stared at by a terrifying malice. Who is it? Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of golden light that swept across the 9 heavens and 10 earths, piercing through the void. He suddenly discovered that a grayish-white shadow had appeared in the void in the distance, and it was flying towards him quickly. He immediately recognized that this grayish-white shadow was the demon overlord that had disappeared from the beginning, the Sky's Heart demon. Kiki human, I've waited for this moment. Die obediently. Your body belongs to me now. The Sky's Heart demon cackled. It revealed a treacherous smile, and it was extremely proud. Whoosh! Chapter 1954. Haha, stupid human. No matter how cunning you are, you still have to eat my bathwater. The Sky Heart demon was extremely proud. Previously, its ability as a Sky Heart demon was useless during the heaven's retribution. If it wasn't careful, it might even be struck to death by the heaven's retribution and follow in the footsteps of other abyssal demons. Therefore, it immediately hid and waited for an opportunity. It waited for 3 days and 3 nights. Finally, the heaven's retribution ended. Without the threat of the heaven's retribution, wouldn't it be easy for the Sky Heart demon to kill a human? Indeed, in terms of actual combat power, it wasn't a match for this human, nor was it a match for the Sun demon or the 9 underworlds demon. The problem was that it didn't just rely on fighting head-on. It could also use sneak attacks. Therefore, when it saw that this human had broken through to a new realm, and his magic power and divine sense had yet to stabilize, it knew it was time for it to sneak attack this human. Without hesitation, it turned into a heart demon's thought and entered the human's body. To be honest, the Sky's Heart demon had been drooling over this human's body for a long time. This was a body that even the bright sun demon desired. If it could completely destroy this human's soul, obtain this body, and refine it into a puppet for the Sky's Heart demon, then the Sky's Heart demon would immediately possess powerful combat power. Die human. Your body belongs to me now. The Sky Heart demon was proud. It entered Xiaoping's body and went deep into his sea of consciousness. It planned to find Xiaoping's soul and eat this human's soul instantly. Fuck, what's going on? However, the Sky Heart demon was shocked when it entered Xiaoping's sea of consciousness. This was because it discovered that this human's sea of consciousness was terrifyingly huge. It was far bigger than any creature it had seen before. Even the sea of consciousness of demon overlords like the 9 underworlds demon and the sun demon couldn't compare to this human at all. After all, this sea of consciousness was too vast. It was as vast as a galaxy. At the same time, there were 9 huge worlds in the depths of the sea of consciousness. Every single world seemed to be like a star that lay across this expanse of space. They emanated boundless heat and light, and they emanated an ancient, powerful, noble, eternal, and various other auras. For a moment, Heaven's Heart demon felt helpless because the sea of consciousness was too huge. It was extremely difficult to find the location of the human's soul. No wonder this human's magic power is so shocking, and he's so powerful. He actually has such a huge sea of consciousness and 9 violet mansions. Is this really a human? The Sky's Heart devil was shocked. It felt like it had discovered the source of this human's strength. It had never seen a life form with 9 violet kingdom spaces. It was no wonder that the heavenly tribulation wanted to kill him. If such a monster became a saint, it was unknown how terrifying he would be. He would probably surpass all the existences that had existed since ancient times. Oh, there seems to be a little bug. Suddenly, A voice rang out in the sea of consciousness. It was like the ringing of a bell, causing Heaven's Heart Demon's body to shake and his head to hurt. Heaven's Heart Demon suddenly raised its head and saw a giant that looked like a human appearing in front of it. This giant was too huge. Standing in the sea of consciousness, the 9 worlds were as weak as eggs. This giant's entire body shone, and its true appearance could not be clearly seen. It seemed to be condensed from flames, and countless mysterious symbols appeared on its body, emitting an unfathomable aura. Dong! At that moment the giant suddenly moved. A huge hand came from the void and grabbed towards Heaven's Heart Demon. Oh no, run! Heaven's Heart Demon's hair stood on end, as if it had met its natural enemy. It was just a thought now, a heart demon. In essence, it was a spiritual entity. A battle in the sea of consciousness was basically a battle between souls. Whoever had the stronger soul power would have the upper hand. That was the essence of a soul battle. Without a doubt, this giant had soul power that far surpassed Heaven's Heart Demon. If it was grabbed by this huge hand, it would probably be squashed like a bug. But it wanted to run, but it was too late. When the giant moved, the entire sea of consciousness turned upside down. Countless air currents wrapped around it, as if the entire world had become its enemy. It was filled with malice and crushed towards its body, locking down the void. No, no, no! Heaven's Heart Demon couldn't help but scream. It felt like its body couldn't move, as if it was bound by an invisible power. It was trapped in a spatial cage. Boom! In the next second, the giant's hand came and slapped Heaven's Heart Demon's body. Terrifying energy exploded, and the void seemed to crack. Ah! Heaven's Heart Demon immediately let out a shrill cry. Its body exploded into pieces just like that. Its soul was completely shattered. It was killed easily like a mosquito. The famous Heaven's Heart Demon was slapped to death just like that. How stupid! Xiaoping also sensed the situation in his sea of consciousness. He was speechless when he sensed Heaven's Heart Demon's death. This Heaven's Heart Demon was extremely stupid. If Heaven's Heart Demon had escaped, he might not have been able to kill this strange existence. But this fellow actually dared to barge into his sea of consciousness and tried to destroy his soul and take over his body. Wasn't this like a lamb entering a tiger's mouth? Whoosh! As Heaven's Heart Demon died, a terrifying dark vortex appeared in the depths of Xiaoping's mind. It immediately devoured and refined the soul power left behind by Heaven's Heart Demon. Immediately, the soul power condensed into a huge soul crystal. It was the size of a meteorite, and the soul power it contained was 10 times more than the bright sun demon. It was no wonder that Heaven's Heart Demon was so confident and arrogant. It thought that it could destroy its own soul. It was a fiendish demon overlord to begin with, far surpassing ordinary fiendish demons of the abyss. Moreover, its soul power was 10 times stronger than a fiendish demon overlord like the bright sun demon. Therefore, it was practically invincible in a soul battle against fiendish demons of the same rank. How could it have imagined that Xiaoping was such a monster? He was just a human in the late Transcendence realm, but his soul power surpassed all Thunder Tribulation realm cultivators. It was unbelievable. Heaven's Heart Demon didn't understand why this had happened. It died with grievances. What's this? Xiaoping squinted. He sensed that after he refined all of Heaven's Heart Demon's energy, a black talisman was condensed. It was beautiful and mysterious. It contained a dark and strange aura like a demon seed. Chapter 1955. Devour. Xiaoping didn't hesitate, and immediately devoured the demonic seed. Instantly, countless dark scriptures flowed out from the depths of his sea of consciousness. These were the cultivation experiences of Sky's Heart Demon. They were the mysteries of the laws granted by the Abyss world. They were also the mysteries of Sky's Heart Demon's divine powers. They were unfathomable. He felt as if he had transformed into Sky's Heart Demon. He had all the experiences of Sky's Heart Demon, and was proficient in all kinds of Heart Demon techniques. His use of divine sense had reached the acme of perfection. After a long time, there was finally a huge change in the depths of his sea of consciousness. Countless spiritual energy gathered, and the demonic seed turned into a mark. The mark was engraved with countless symbols. It seemed to contain a supreme dark scripture. It emitted a strange, mysterious, and unfathomable aura. It was like a black hole that could devour everything. Demon Heart Mark. Xiaoping immediately knew what the divine power he had obtained after refining Sky's heart demon's origin energy was. It was a famous dark divine power from the Abyss world, Demon Heart Mark. After successfully refining the dark mark, he felt as if he could feel the emotions of countless living beings in the world through the mark. He could feel their joy, anger, sorrow, and joy. This was also one of the origin energy of Sky's heart demon. It could naturally sense the emotions of all living beings. From this perspective, it was even more mysterious than the Buddhist's mind reading. This is amazing. Xiaoping's divine sense seeped into the space of the mountain river Pearl. He sensed that there were countless living beings living in the vast space of the mountain river Pearl. There were primordial descendants, wild animals, weeds, trees, spiritual herbs, spiritual grains, and so on. These living beings might be happy, angry, bored, confused, aggrieved, or dispirited. He could feel all these emotions clearly. It was as if he could feel them. Even his emotions seemed to have colors, colorful and gorgeous. Ordinary people couldn't see them, but he could see them clearly through the demon heart mark. It was as if the entire world had changed. Perhaps this was the world in Sky's heart demon's eyes. Rumble. In an instant, he felt that the true understanding of illusions he cultivated seemed to have improved greatly. This demon heart mark was very useful for cultivating illusions. It was like adding wings to a tiger. Perfect realm. Xiaoping immediately knew that his first level of illusion had finally broken through from the advanced realm to the grand completion realm, advancing to an unimaginable realm, becoming a true master of illusion. This is also the peak of illusions that mortals can achieve. This is the realm that illusionists dream of reaching. Upon reaching the great perfection realm, he could immediately set up an illusory world with a single thought. This illusory world was incomparably realistic and had almost no flaws. It had its own ancient history, and every life had its own growth process. There were also complicated interpersonal relationships between them. Every illusory life had its own consciousness, and they could talk to each other. They also had their own emotions, joy, anger, sorrow, and joy. It was just like the real world. Before obtaining the Devil Heart Seal, he was unable to create such a realistic illusory world. However, after obtaining the Devil's Heart Seal, and being able to sense the emotions of all living things in the world, he could immediately do this, and endow countless illusory lives with complicated situations. It was as if he had transformed into a heaven's heart devil. This was a power that originated from his instincts and was self-taught. One thought, one world. With a move of Xiaoping's thoughts, a silent wave immediately enveloped a radius of 1 billion kilometers. Suddenly, a real world descended on this abyss continent. In this area, it seemed that a huge human world had appeared. There were more than a dozen human countries. They had different histories and races, and there were even wars between them. The humans living in this place even had their own lives. On the streets, in the houses, inside the palaces, everyone was vivid and lifelike, as if they really existed. Everyone had their own personality. One could even hear the noise and laughter on the commercial streets, the crying and quarreling sounds from the residents' houses, and the indescribable strange sounds. Unimaginable. Xiaoping stood on the street. He had a surreal feeling. Stepping on the concrete floor was so solid. The fragrance in the air, the touch of the soles of his feet, the sounds, and the colors were all so vivid. Countless people passed by him. Some people accidentally bumped into him, and they would apologize. Some people felt that he was standing in the middle of the road, and they would curse and swear. Some people even called the police, wanting the police to take him away from this place. If this illusion was not set up by him, he would have thought that he was really in a real world. Although this illusion world was created by him, after the creation was successful, it seemed that the operation of this world could no longer be interfered with, and it had formed its own unique law. If this law and law were destroyed, the whole world would collapse. It's too mysterious. Xiaoping increasingly felt that the true explanation of illusion was really broad, profound, and unfathomable. It contained infinite mysteries, and seemed to point directly to the great Tao. He didn't know which demon in the depths of hell created it. Moreover, this was only the first realm of illusion. If it reached the second realm, or even the third realm, such an illusion would probably no longer be an illusion, but a divine art. Beep beep. At this time, the system's voice sounded. Congratulations to the host. You have attracted the hatred of a large number of abyss demons. This time, you have received a total of 100 hatred crystals. I hope you will continue to work hard. Xiaoping finally came back to his senses at this moment and broke away from the illusion. He didn't expect that after killing a large group of abyss demons, he could still gain so much hatred. In addition to the previous hatred, he now had a total of 560 hatred crystals, and it was not too far away from getting 1,000 hatred crystals. Well, it's time to go back. Xiaoping sorted out the harvest and felt that he had successfully passed the tribulation this time. Not only did he successfully pass the tribulation, but he could also harvest a large number of soul crystals, which was a big harvest. In this case, there was no point in staying in this place. It was better to go back and continue to be an observer, lest the elders think that he had not appeared for a long time and thought that he had died in the demon continent. He looked at the illusion world in front of him, which seemed to have solidified. If there was no external force to destroy it, it was estimated that this illusion world would not dissipate for thousands of years. Whoosh! Xiaoping's figure flashed, and without destroying the illusion world, he immediately flew back to the original place. But after flying for a while, his heart palpitated, and he suddenly stopped. Huh, isn't this Jiang Yaro and the others? Chapter 1956. Whoosh! Xiaoping's figure flashed, and he immediately landed in front of Yuqiqi, Jiang Yaro, Suji, and Churong. Boom! Just as he landed, the thousands of abyssal demons in the valley were immediately ignited by flames. From inside to outside, their entire bodies turned into huge torches that shot into the sky. The abyssal demons were terrified to the extreme and let out shrill screams. But after a breath's time, the screams stopped. They were also burned to ashes, leaving nothing behind. What's going on? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He had not expected such a thing to happen. He had not done anything just now. All he had done was descend into the valley, and the group of abyssal demons had burned themselves to death. However, he could also sense that the flames had indeed come from his body and had been ignited by his own power. It was not someone else who had killed the abyssal demons. So that's how it is. Xiaoping thought about it carefully and quickly understood what had happened. This was because the golden crow of hell bloodline in his body had evolved too quickly, especially after he had devoured the bright sun demon's origin energy and obtained a wisp of its divine flames. This had allowed him to advance by leaps and bounds, awakening 300 million golden crow of hell cells. This way, the flame aura and pure yang aura on his body were frighteningly strong. Although he didn't feel anything, this terrifying flame aura couldn't be restrained at all. In the eyes of others, Xiaoping was like a sun walking on land, constantly emitting terrifying heat. Of course, under Xiaoping's control, this heat would not casually explode. But if an enemy was hostile towards Xiaoping, this terrifying flame energy would automatically counterattack, instantly killing the enemy. This was an instinctive counterattack, so fast that Xiaoping did not even realize it. The group of abyssal demons in the valley did not know about this. When they saw another human coming, they naturally treated Xiaoping as their greatest enemy. The result was obvious. Their evil and killing intent had just exploded, and it immediately triggered Xiaoping's defensive instincts. Terrifying flame energy blasted out. Even if it was just a trace, it was not something these weak demons could defend against. In an instant, the group of abyssal demons were burned to death. Their bodies were ignited by the flames and turned to ashes. Looks like I'll need to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time before I can completely master the golden crow of hell's bloodline. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. He felt that he had indeed improved a little too quickly over the past few days. This had also caused a slight flaw in his control over his power. He would need some time to completely master it. Xiaoping, why are you here? Jiang Yaro asked curiously. Yuqiqi, Suji, and Churong also felt that it was very strange. After all, Xiaoping was an observer, so he shouldn't be interfering with the training of new disciples like them. If they were found out, they would probably be disqualified from the trial, and would be thought to have relied on others to cheat. I just happened to pass by. Xiaoping expressed that it was just a coincidence, and that he did not deliberately arrive at this place. As for that group of abyssal demons, it wasn't because he wanted to help. It was purely because that group of abyssal demons were courting death. They actually dared to have the intention to kill him. In the end, they were automatically burned to death by the flames on his body. Could it be that you were the one who created that blood-colored tribulation cloud? Did you just come back from the depths of the demon continent? Yuchichi immediately recalled her previous conjecture. She felt that such a huge commotion definitely had a lot to do with Xiaoping, that shit stirrer. This is a secret. If you want to know tonight, when we're alone in a room, I can slowly tell you. I can tell you everything in detail, and we can talk through the night. Xiaoping said with a smile. Hey, who cares about your secret? Shameless, stinky human. Yuchichi's face turned red. She naturally knew what Xiaoping was trying to say. He was obviously trying to do something to her. Now that they were alone in a room, how could she escape? Suji, why is your face so red? Are you having a fever, or are you sick? Chu Rong immediately noticed that Suji was acting strangely. Her fair and tender face had turned red. Her pair of beautiful eyes were watery, and there was a hint of lust in them. No matter how she looked at Suji, she felt that there was something wrong with her, as if she had taken drugs. I don't know what's going on either. I just suddenly feel that Xiaoping has become very handsome, invincibly handsome. Suji's face turned red as she blurted out. However, after saying these words, she was so ashamed that she wanted to die. She wished that she could bury her head in the ground. How could she say such shameless words? Very handsome. This is just a trivial advantage of mine. I also have the advantages of being tall and mighty, gentle and kind, brave and tenacious, long-lasting, and so on. Damn female rogue, what are you doing? Xiaoping was planning to continue bragging about himself, but suddenly, Suji seemed to be unable to bear it. She pounced on him like a female Selin, and hugged him like an octopus, extremely shameless. Rogue, I want to test your advantage of being able to last for a long time. Suji gently raised her head and exhaled. Her beautiful eyes were like a pool of spring water, beautiful beyond compare. Although this is one of my more prominent advantages, and has long been famous in the world, but now is obviously not the time. In broad daylight, and there are people watching, you better respect me. I am a man with principles. Xiaoping swallowed his saliva. He felt that he was a little unable to control himself. His willpower was quite weak. Is that so? But don't you think it's more exciting to have people watching? Or do you hate me? Suji giggled. Her white and tender little hand gently drew a circle on his chest. How could I hate you? Even if I hate the whole universe, it's impossible for me to hate you. Xiaoping said with a guilty conscience. He felt that he could no longer control himself. This kind of action, this kind of tone, this kind of demeanor could absolutely capture any man. This was a woman's godly skill. But before he could finish speaking, a small hand forcefully grabbed him from the side. The person who grabbed him was Jiang Yaru. She also seemed to be very strange. Her pretty face was flushed, and her beautiful eyes were blurred. She grabbed Xiaoping's collar and directly pulled him in front of her chest. Her manner was incomparably domineering. Smelly rogue, you like that kind of shameless hooves. Everywhere you go, you flirt with other women. Don't tell me, as your childhood sweetheart, I can't do it? If you want it, don't tell me I can't give it to you. My chest, isn't it big enough? You absolutely can. Your growth, I can see it with my own eyes. Xiaoping felt a little breathless. Chapter 1957. Stinky Human. Yuchichi's beautiful eyes blurred. She grabbed Xiaoping's collar and pressed one hand against the mountain wall. She pressed her body close to Xiaoping and revealed the demeanor of a queen. You actually dare to flirt with another woman in front of this queen. You have quite the guts, but you are indeed not bad. Man, you have successfully attracted my attention. However, do you know how big of a crime it is to make this queen jealous? This is a heavy crime. This queen punishes you to stay by my side for the rest of your life. You are not allowed to leave. This is a life sentence. Her tone was very tyrannical, as if she was declaring her sovereignty. Xiaoping was dumbfounded. He was actually being pressed against the wall by a woman? What the hell was this? He suddenly felt that this woman had become intrepid, as if he had become the one on the receiving end. My God, what's wrong with these women? Are they on drugs? Just as Yu Qiqi finished her sentence, another hand dragged Xiaoping over and pressed him down onto the ground. A graceful figure was riding on top of him. It was Chu Rong. Pervert. Chu Rong placed her hands on Xiaoping's chest. Her beautiful eyes were like water as she bit her lips. I am not a princess, nor am I your childhood sweetheart. I don't know how to seduce a man, but I have fair skin, big breasts, long legs, and this is my first time. I don't need to be responsible for anyone's life. I wonder if you are willing to accept me like this? No problem. This is not a big problem. Xiaoping felt as if he had been conquered. This girl said that she didn't know how to seduce a man, but to say such words and do such actions, she was clearly a grandmaster. Which man could stand it? She even asked if he was willing to accept me like this. Could it be that a man would say he was not willing? If not for the fact that there was no one around, he would have thought that he was being jumped by an immortal. System, why did they become like this? Xiaoping immediately asked the system. He felt that the system should know something. Host, it is purely because of you. Because the Golden Crow Hell bloodline in your body has greatly increased in a short period of time. Your body has an excess of yang energy, which is extremely attractive to women. It is like a walking aphrodisiac. That's why you became like this. The system replied, indicating that it was Xiaoping's fault. So that's how it is. Xiaoping finally understood why Su Ji, Yu Qiqi, Chu Rong, and Jiang Yara would become like this. It was because the pure yang qi on his body was too dense and was corroding the surroundings. Right now, he was simply like a furnace, emitting a strong male hormone. Su Ji, Yu Qiqi, Chu Rong, and Jiang Yara were unable to resist at all, and were immediately affected. Especially Su Ji. Her body has the fox demon blood, which contains a strong yin attribute. Thus, it is impossible for her to resist such a strong pure yang qi. Therefore, she was the first to change. System, is there any way to solve this problem? Xiaoping asked. There's no other way. Unless you can control the power in your body freely and stop releasing any pure yang qi, you won't be able to solve it. The system said. Before Xiaoping could think of a solution, Yu Qiqi, Jiang Yaru, and Su Ji surrounded him, their faces as red as peach blossoms. Stinky human, you're such a fickle man. It's fine as long as she's a woman, right? Xiaoping, I want to prove to you that I am the most suitable woman for you. Idiot, what are you waiting here for? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Don't tell me you're still foolishly waiting here? Man, has anyone ever told you that you look cute like this? Give up struggling. Tonight you're ours. Chu Rong and the others were like wolves and tigers. Their hands and feet moved nimbly, and in an instant, they grabbed Xiaoping's hands and feet. Stop, you bunch of female hooligans, stop your rude actions immediately. Wait, my clothes, your clothes. I'm a man with principles, and my will is very firm. Don't think that you can touch me. If this goes on, I'm going to resist. I'm really going to resist. Oh my God. Very soon, a very rhythmic sound came from a nearby cave. It sounded like waves crashing against the reef, and from time to time, thousands of waves would rise. It also seemed like a violent storm had appeared, and it didn't stop for a long time. In the distance, in the deepest part of the demonic continent, where Xiaoping was originally undergoing his tribulation, at this moment, more than a dozen demons appeared in the surroundings, and each of them emitted a tyrannical abyssal aura. Impressively, their cultivation had reached the peak of the thunder tribulation realm. Even their auras were not inferior to the glorious sun demon, 9 underworlds demon, and other demon overlords. Damn it, what happened? Why are all the top demons on this continent dead? Even the glorious sun demon, 9 underworlds demon, and even the sky heart demon are dead. Who did it? An abyssal demon's expression was very ugly. This place is filled with the dense aura of the thunder tribulation. Most of the abyssal demons were killed by the thunder tribulation. An abyssal demon carefully looked around and observed some clues. Thunder tribulation? This is the abyss continent. Why would there be a thunder tribulation? It's humans. A human once appeared in this place, and it was that human who triggered the heaven tribulation, causing so many abyssal demons to die. There were countless casualties, and almost all the abyssal demons on this continent were annihilated. Damned humans, they're ruining our plans again. If the Lord finds out about this, he'll definitely be furious. What should we do now? These abyssal demons clenched their fists. When they thought about how they ruined the Lord's plan, they shuddered. They simply hated the person who ruined their plan to the bone. Originally, the Lord ordered us to unite the abyssal demons on every demon continent and combine the power of all demons. I didn't expect this continent to encounter a major setback. Don't tell me the humans know about our plan? So what if they know? This is an open plot. Do those humans dare to kill their way into the abyss world? That's right. Even if those humans know about our plan, it doesn't matter. Now that we, the abyssal demons, have established our power, we can't be stopped by a little bit of cleverness and tricks. The Skyheart demon is really useless. It can't do anything at all, and it was actually killed by the humans. Forget it, the Skyheart demon is already dead. It's useless to scold it. Let's go back immediately. The abyssal demons on this continent are all dead. There's not a single high-level demon. They're all low-level cannon fodder. It's useless to stay. Just you wait, damn humans. When my abyssal army gathers, it will soon be the end of the human race. We must take revenge this time and completely eradicate the human race. Let's leave quickly. Maybe that human will come back. We can't continue to lose before the war starts. A group of abyssal demons gritted their teeth and hated the human who ruined their plan. If that human dared to appear in front of them, they would definitely teach him a lesson. But now they had more important things to do. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Chapter 1958. Several days later, the trial of the new disciples of the 5 major sects finally ended. Once the time was up, the surviving new disciples were quickly teleported back by the Tianji board and left the Abyss world. We can finally come out alive. As expected of the Abyss world, it's not a place for humans. I don't even know how I survived for a month. It's too terrifying. Isn't that so? There are demons from the Abyss everywhere, and every demon is extremely terrifying. They kill without batting an eyelid, and their combat strength far surpasses cultivators of the same level. They are indeed the great enemies of the various races in the ancient era. Fortunately, we still came back alive. It's much better than those unlucky seniors and juniors who died in the Abyss world. The new disciples of the 5 major sects rejoiced. They felt like they had survived a disaster. To be honest, time in the Abyss world was like a year for them. Many new disciples could not bear the pressure and ended the trial early, allowing the Tianji board to teleport them back. This way, they would naturally not be valued and their evaluation would be lowered. The resources they could obtain from the sect in the future would be reduced. At this moment, among the many new disciples of the Qingquan sect, Yuqiqi, Jiangyaru, Suji, and Chu Rong were also teleported back to the side of the disciples. However, the aura they emitted was clearly different from the other disciples. Previously, they were only treasure refinement realm cultivators. But now they were true fire realm cultivators. After breaking through a major realm, their cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. If it was just the improvement in their cultivation, it would be fine. The many Qingquan sect disciples could clearly sense the indistinct aura of divinity from the 4 of them. It was as though they were high and mighty saintesses. Such an aura far surpassed that of all the Qingquan sect disciples. Oh my God, Suji, what exactly did you do in the Abyss world? It's fine if you're not injured, but your cultivation base actually advanced by leaps and bounds. You even have a greasy appearance. What kind of fortuitous encounter did you encounter? That's right. You guys seem to have matured quite a bit. From a fairy to a goddess. Some Qingquan sect disciples who were familiar with Suji, and the others could not help but ask. They had spent a lot of effort just to survive in the abyss world. But Su Ji and the others, not only were they not injured, they even obtained a fortuitous encounter. Their cultivation had improved tremendously. Obviously, they had obtained some benefits, which made them very envious and jealous. Some of the female disciples were even more sensitive. They could perceive the change in Su Ji, and the others from inside to outside. It was as if they had grown from a young girl to a woman, and had been reborn. I didn't have any fortuitous encounters. Hearing those words, Yuqiqi, Jiang Yaru Su Ji, and Chu Rong's faces turned red as they replied insincerely. What fortuitous encounter? It was just a relationship that surpassed friendship with some shameless scoundrel, and they even had a couple of days of dual cultivation. However, before they could question Xiaoping, the trial suddenly ended, and they were hurriedly teleported out of the abyss world. Although they were unwilling to admit it, after dual cultivation with Xiaoping, they had obtained great benefits. First of all, they cultivated the telepathic heart art. Through spiritual cultivation with Xiaoping, they obtained a lot of cultivation experience from Xiaoping, and also gained a lot of enlightenment. Secondly, their bodies had been nourished by Xiaoping's dense magic power, and the corrosion of the golden crow of hell's bloodline. In an instant, their physiques had been raised to an unimaginable level. Even their bodies and bloodlines had a trace of the essence of a mythical creature. Therefore, they naturally broke through to the true fire realm without any difficulty. They condensed their spiritual fire, and their martial Tao cultivation also surpassed all the new disciples. However, they could not say these words, because it was a private matter. The other Qingkuan sect disciples saw that Su Ji and the others were unwilling to say more, so they did not continue asking. After all, fortuitous encounters were one of everyone's biggest secrets, and no one was willing to expose it. If it were them, they probably would not say it either. However, these Qingkuan sect disciples were all envious and jealous of Su Ji and the others. Why didn't it be them who had fortuitous encounters? Could it be that the gap between people was really that big? On the other hand, Xiaoping had also left the abyss world, and was teleported to where the elders of the 5 major sects were. Oh, Daoist Xia is back too. His cultivation actually broke through again. Could it be that he had some fortuitous encounter, and advanced to the late stage of Law Phase realm? Some elders immediately noticed Xiaoping's situation. They couldn't help but be shocked. It had only been a month, and this kid actually broke through again. He directly advanced to the late stage of Law Phase realm, and his magic power was unbelievably dense. Even though they had heard of Xiaoping's reputation for rapid cultivation, they were not as shocked as when they saw it with their own eyes. Such a monster actually appeared in front of them. It was simply unbelievable. Junior brother Xia broke through again? That's normal, I'm used to it. It's a small matter, just a small matter. Don't make a fuss, it's normal. Some of the Qingkuan sect elders' mouths twitched. To be honest, they were already numb to Xiaoping's cultivation speed. Seeing Xiaoping break through again, they no longer had any thoughts. After all, this guy was not human, but a monster, a peerless monster. They couldn't be compared with him. I was just lucky, Xiaoping said humbly. Xiaoping said modestly. Right now his aura had been perfectly concealed. The massive golden crow of hell's bloodline in the depths of his body wasn't discovered by any of the elders. It had reached the level of being one with him. If he suddenly teleported out when he was going through the tribulation, he would probably scare this group of elders to death. Just by standing in mid-air, that terrifying pure yang energy was enough to burn some of the weaker elders to death. It would directly ignite their blood and turn them into a flaming man. However, after dual cultivating with Su Ji, Jiang Yaru, Yuqiqi and Chu Rong, he obtained a massive amount of pure yin energy from their bodies, reaching the level of yin and yang fusion. This also allowed him to perfectly control the golden crow of hell's bloodline in his body. At the same time, under this stimulation, he awakened another 50 million golden crow of hell's cells. Right now, he had awakened a total of 350 million golden crow of hell's cells. The energy in his body was extremely terrifying. Other than the awakening of the golden crow of hell's bloodline, his magic power cultivation had also greatly increased. After dual cultivating, His magic power cultivation had increased by at least a few thousand years. This also allowed his cultivation to get closer and closer to the peak of the law phase realm. At this rate of progress, it wouldn't be too far for him to reach the peak of the law phase realm. Very soon, he would be able to advance to the lightning tribulation realm and truly step into the realm of peak experts. At that time, he would also have the qualifications to touch the sage realm. Before the arrival of the Cosmos Level War, he had to quickly step into the sage realm. Otherwise, when the war started, he would only be slightly stronger cannon fodder. Chapter 1959. Soon, the 5 major sects activated the teleportation array and sent all the disciples and elders back to their respective sections. Xiaoping also returned to the Qingquan sect. After returning to the sect, he did not return to Yanhuang Peak. Instead, he first went to the Dark North Peak, where his master was. This was because he had to report information about the Abyss Demons. After all, the Abyss Demons intended to gather and invade the human world again. This concerned the safety of the entire universe, so he could not hide this information. If the human race was finished, then he would be finished too. No matter how big the universe was, there was no place for the human race. They would be like stray dogs. Of course, a small fry like him would definitely not be able to resist the invasion of the Abyss Demons. It would definitely require the sage to personally come forward. Moreover, even if the sky collapsed, the tall ones would die first. This matter did not require a small fry like him to worry about for the time being. At this moment, the Dark North sage was not in seclusion, so he entered the Dark North Peak smoothly. "Master, I have something important to report," Xiaoping said solemnly. "Oh, what is it? Just say it." The Dark North sage raised his eyebrows. He knew that his disciple would not come to the Dark North Peak if there was nothing important. "Master, it's like this." Therefore, Xiaoping told him about his encounter in the Abyss world. Of course, he hid the fact that he had transcended the tribulation. He said that when he was exploring the Abyss world, he accidentally bumped into the meeting of the Abyss Demons. He sneaked in secretly, but did not expect to discover the other party's earth-shattering conspiracy. Many Abyss Demons had already gathered, and might soon invade the human world. "So that's how it is. I understand. I didn't expect you to know about this." After listening to Xiaoping, the Dark North sage nodded with a calm expression. Seeing this, Xiaoping's heart stirred. He asked, "Master, could it be that the upper echelons of the human race already knew about the movements of the Abyss Demons?" "That's only natural." The Dark North sage smiled. "The Abyss Demons have always been the common enemy of all races in the universe. The pain they brought to all living beings in the universe in ancient times has never been healed. Therefore, the human race will naturally monitor these abyssal demons at all times and know their every move. This is to prevent these abyssal demons from stirring up havoc again. Since you knew, why didn't you stop it?" Xiaoping did not understand. If they had known about the evil actions of the Abyss Demons long ago, then with the power of the human race, they would naturally be able to take precautions and completely suppress the Abyss Demons' plot in the bud. "I can't stop it." Dark North Saint shook his head. "The Abyss world is too powerful for those demon saints. As long as they hide in the deepest part of the Abyss world, we can't do anything to them. Those demon saints can be said to be immortal. Moreover, if we stay in the Abyss world for too long, we will also be corroded by the laws of the Abyss. We cannot stay for too long, so we cannot completely exterminate this group of Abyss Demons. Of course, we've long known that this group of abyssal demons hasn't given up. They've been recuperating and waiting for an opportunity to make a comeback. The myriad races are also preparing at all times." He said that the human race had always wanted to exterminate the demons in the Abyss. In fact, even if they united the power of countless races in the universe, it would be impossible to exterminate the demon race in the Abyss. In that case, both sides have long since prepared for a big battle? Xiaoping looked at Dark North Saint. He smelled a hint of a tragic war that was about to happen. "That's right. We have to fight. Moreover, we have to thoroughly beat up this group of Abyss Demons. We have to kill the majority of their elites and carve out a path of peace. Dark North Saint's body was filled with a terrifying killing intent, tearing through the void. Only by completely injuring these abyss demons will they extinguish the idea of invading the human world again, and win billions of years of peace for the human race. He said that the human race had already made various preparations for this war. What happens after we win? Billions of years later, won't those abyss demons make a comeback? Xiaoping still felt that this was not a permanent solution. There's no other way. This is actually the crux of the problem. Dark North Saint spread his hands. We don't have any power to completely exterminate the abyss demons now, so we can only use this method to minimize the threat of the abyss demons. Maybe in the future, someone will find a way to exterminate the abyss demons, but for now, this is the best way to deal with it. Xiaoping nodded. He also understood the helplessness of the human race. The abyss demons were like cockroaches, extremely tenacious and unkillable. They could only maintain a certain number of the abyss demons, and not threaten the survival of the human race. You don't need to think about this for the future of the human race for now. What you need to think about now is how to increase your strength, and how to have the power to protect yourself. Dark North Saint looked at Xiaoping, and reminded him sincerely, right now you are still too weak. Only by ascending to the Saint realm, can you gain a little bit of authority in this war. Because once the war starts, even saints will fall, not to mention the rest of the mortals. He remembered the war with the abyss demons in the immemorial era. At that time, the human race suffered heavy casualties, at least 70% of the human race. Almost the entire universe 9 rooms were wiped out. It wasn't until a long time later that the human race's strength slowly recovered. Master, I understand. Xiaoping nodded. He also knew that once such a universal war broke out, the degree of tragedy would be beyond the imagination of the people of the current era. Dark North Saint said, this time, going to the Holy Land of Taichu is a very good opportunity. Many resources can only be found in the Central Universe. And staying in the Central Universe, the chances of becoming a saint are much higher than in other places. If you have nothing else to do, go to the Holy Land of Taichu in the Central Universe as soon as possible. There should be a great opportunity for you to become a saint there. Understood, Master. Xiaoping's heart moved. Even Dark North Saint said so, hoping that he would go to the Holy Land of Taichu. It seemed that the Central Universe really did contain a great secret. In fact, if there was no great secret, it would not attract the beings of the various races to live in that place. This was also why the Central Universe had become a place where thousands of races fought for hegemony. After saying this, he discussed with Dark North Sage some of the problems he encountered in cultivation before leaving the Dark North Peak. From the conversation with his master, he knew that this war was inevitable. The only thing he could do now was to quickly become stronger in order to survive in this war that would sweep across the entire universe. He could even obtain countless opportunities from the war. In fact, many existences at the level of overlord in the universe had risen through the war. The so-called crisis meant that there was danger, but there were also opportunities. Chapter 1960. Qingquan Star, a spaceship port. Xiaoping ended his cultivation and arrived at this place because the people from the Holy Land of Taichu would soon arrive at this port to welcome him into the Central Universe. These days, he had been in seclusion to consolidate his skyrocketing cultivation. He had refined and absorbed most of the energy obtained from the Abyss world, and completely familiarized himself with the skyrocketing magical power in his body. Of course, this also made his cultivation advance by leaps and bounds. His magical power was much stronger than before, and he was not far from the peak of the Transcendence realm. If someone could sense the situation inside Xiaoping's body, they would definitely be stunned. His entire body was filled with explosive magical power, burning like the sun, as if it contained eternal power. Of course, this power was completely restrained by Xiaoping and concentrated in the depths of his body, not leaking a single bit. Otherwise, if such a huge amount of pure yang qi was released everywhere, it would lead to unpredictable consequences. Whoosh! At this moment, a huge spaceship immediately appeared in the sky. It looked like a black whale, engraved with dense mysterious runes. It was so huge that it even exceeded the average space fortress. The huge size was not the reason why Xiaoping was shocked. It was because he felt that this black spaceship seemed to be a living thing. Its tail trembled slightly, as if it had its own life and consciousness. He would not be surprised if this black spaceship immediately turned into a terrifying monster. Is this a saint-level spaceship? Corinne, do you know what's going on with this spaceship? Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. He sensed that this black spaceship was comparable to his stars, and even more magical to a certain extent. It was not something that ordinary spaceships could compare to. Was this the spaceship from the Holy Land of Taichu? If I'm not wrong, this should also be a mid-grade saint-level spaceship. In terms of level alone, it is probably more powerful than our stars. Hearing Xiaoping's voice, Corinne replied, "The reason why you feel that this spaceship seems to have life consciousness is also very normal, because this spaceship has fused with a kind of special life form of the universe, which is at least sage level." What? Integrated with life saint level? What does this mean? Xiaoping's eyes widened, feeling a little strange that a life could be integrated with a spaceship. Of course, Corinne said as if it was a matter of course. For example, some special metal life forms or plant life forms can be thoroughly integrated into the spaceship. Just like the slightly famous Saint-grade spaceship Meteor, it was a rock giant that had fused with a universe-level life form. Its entire body could transform into an indestructible rock, and it could charge around. Even space storms couldn't destroy it. The Elven clan's famous Saint-class spaceship, the Elven, was formed from the fusion of the Elven clan's sacred tree, the Katari tree. The entire spaceship looks like a big tree, and its roots stretch across the void, allowing it to easily traverse the universe. It explains some of the mysteries of a Saint-class ship to Xiaoping. In that case, could the stars have fused with some kind of life form? Xiaoping's heart thumped. Well, no. Corinne looked very embarrassed. Back then, Old Master only piled up a lot of rare ores on the myriad stars, and barely managed to upgrade the grade of the spaceship to a low-grade holy-grade spaceship. It's not that Old Master doesn't want to find these strange life forms, but the problem is that there are too few suitable strange life forms, not to mention sage-level ones. There's no way we can defeat them. Then why does the Holy Land of Taichu have such a spaceship? Xiaoping asked curiously. Of course they can. In any case, the Holy Land of Taichu is one of the holy lands of the human race. There are a lot of sage-level existences in it. It's too easy to find some metal life forms and plant life forms. Corinne sighed. Old Master advocated freedom at that time, and was unwilling to join these big organizations to be restricted. He was just an individual cultivator, so of course he didn't enjoy the same treatment as the Holy Land of Taichu. If the Old Master had joined the Holy Land of Taichu, he probably wouldn't have been killed so easily. It was precisely because he was just a rogue cultivator with no family or friends, and no one to protect him that no one would avenge him. Even if he died, no one would avenge him. Those who wanted to kill you wouldn't have any scruples. Xiaoping also knew that although the Holy Land of Taichu and the Palace of Darkness were two of the holy lands of the human race, not all the human sages were included in these two organizations. In fact, there were many sages who didn't want to join these organizations and preferred to live a free and unrestrained life. These people were also called individual cultivators. There were also benefits to being an individual cultivator. They didn't need to be bound by all kinds of rules, and could be free to do whatever they wanted. However, they also didn't have a backer, and if something really happened, no one would come to save them. Corinne sighed. If Old Master had a few relatives and friends, or the Holy Land of Taichu as a backer, then the enemy wouldn't have dared to kill him. In other words, if we want to continue to upgrade the stars, we need to find some sage-level metal life forms or plant life forms to fuse with. Xiaoping asked. That's right. Corinne nodded. If you become a sage, Xiaoping, it should be very easy to ask the Holy Land of Taichu for help. Moreover, a sage-level spaceship is an extremely important means of transportation in the central universe. Without a sage-level spaceship, it's basically impossible to travel in the central universe. It meant that a sage-level spaceship was very important in the central universe. In fact, if it wasn't so important, the saints of the stars wouldn't have spent all their wealth to build a spaceship. Xia Ping wanted to ask more about the central universe, but the black spaceship had already landed and arrived at the port, temporarily parked in the air. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At this time, the cabin door of the spaceship opened, and then 3 disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu came out. The leading disciple was also someone Xia Ping had seen before. He was Su Chong, a mighty figure at the peak of the Thunder Retribution state. He held a mid-grade holy artifact, and once fought with Xia Ping in the Heavenly Creation map. In the end, Xia Ping beat him to a pulp. However, Su Chong didn't feel like he was running away. He was in high spirits and showed the demeanor of the eldest senior brother of the Holy Land of Taichu. You're Xia Ping from the Qingkuan sect, right? I'm a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu. This time, I'm here to take you to the central universe. Now get on the spaceship. Su Chong went straight to the point. Okay. Xia Ping nodded and immediately followed Su Chong and the others into the spaceship without hesitation. Chapter 1961. One day later, the whale ship from the Holy Land of Taichu traveled across the Eastern Universe, picking up all the geniuses who joined the Holy Land of Taichu and heading to the Central Universe. Many geniuses of the Eastern Universe gathered in the hall of the ship. A middle-aged man in a blue battle robe stood in front of the hall. Many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu stood respectfully in front of this middle-aged man, without the arrogance they had before. Because this middle-aged man was a sage, everyone present felt a strong sense of pressure when facing this middle-aged man, as if a tyrannical power was everywhere, crushing down from the depths of the void, as if the entire universe was their enemy. Of course, the middle-aged man did not purposely release this pressure. It was purely a powerful aura that was naturally released as a saint. Just a wisp of this aura made everyone almost breathless. This was the difference in the nature of life, as if they had encountered a powerful creature at the top of the food chain. You have the opportunity to join the Holy Land of Taichu, which proves that you are all geniuses of the human race. The blue-robed middle-aged man said. However, all of you are from the Eastern Universe and have never been to the Central Universe. I must remind you that the Central Universe is completely different from the other regions of the universe. It is the core of the universe, and it is also the place where all the races fight for supremacy. It is where the elites of countless races gather. Entering the Central Universe is not a simple matter. The geniuses of the Eastern Universe nodded. They could take spaceships in and out of other regions of the universe at will, and it could also be regarded as a tourist destination. But the Central Universe was different. There was no means of transportation at all. It seemed that only spaceships from the Holy Land of Taichu and the Palace of Darkness could enter. I believe you are also curious why so many spaceships can't enter the Central Universe. In fact, this is not a rule of the human race, and there is no law prohibiting other humans from entering the Central Universe. That is because ordinary people can't enter even if they want to, the middle-aged man in the blue battle robe said. Why can't they enter? Because the entire Central Universe is surrounded by space storms. Such storms are hundreds of millions of light-years long, and ordinary spaceships can't pass through them to reach the Central Universe. Only saint-level spaceships can resist the erosion of space storms and enter the Central Universe smoothly. He gently pointed with his finger, and immediately a virtual projection appeared. The Central Universe seemed to have turned into a huge sphere. This area was full of space storms, as if the surrounding void had been cut off, separating the Central Universe from other regions of the universe. It was like a huge island isolated in the universe. I see. Xia Ping came to a sudden realization. He finally understood why humans from the Central Universe were rarely seen. If they stayed in a place like this, then it would be very difficult for them to travel to other regions of the universe. After all, one needed a saint-grade spaceship to travel freely in and out of the Central Universe. The problem was, how could an ordinary person afford a saint-grade spaceship? Even the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu did not have such financial resources. They could only take advantage of the Holy Land of Taichu's missions to have the opportunity to take the saint-level spacecraft to other places. As for the humans in the other regions of the universe, as well as the creatures of the various major races, they had no chance of boarding a saint-class spaceship, so they had no way of reaching the central region. They only knew that such a place existed. Don't think that the central universe looks small on the screen. In terms of area and volume, it's countless times larger than the other 4 universes combined. The blue-robed middle-aged man looked at everyone and said, "Because the central universe is very special. There are spatial folds everywhere, and there are no such things as planets inside. Instead, there are unique minor worlds with complete laws of heaven and earth. There are as many minor worlds as there are hairs on an ox in the central universe. A new world may be born at any moment, and the central universe is constantly expanding." Hearing this, someone immediately asked, "Sir, you mentioned before that the central universe is the myriad races strife zone. Is our human race fighting for worlds in this region?" "That's right. You're very smart to see the key point." The blue-robed middle-aged man nodded. These minor worlds born in the central universe contain a huge amount of resources that other regions of the universe can't compare to. It's very difficult to find 10,000-year spirit herbs in the Eastern universe, but they're very common in the central universe. Although they're not everywhere, they're not hard to find. If you can occupy a minor world, it's equivalent to obtaining the resources of a minor world. The wealth you can provide to your race is indescribable. Fighting for the worlds in the central universe is a daily occurrence in the central universe. Countless races will fight for a resource-rich world, waging war against each other, resulting in countless deaths and injuries. There was a hint of cruelty and ruthlessness in his tone. It could be said that the central universe was the place where countless races fought the most in the universe. Annihilation of races happened at every moment. "Sir, do you know how many worlds our human race has seized from the central region?" Someone asked curiously. "There are countless small worlds, but the larger worlds with slightly more resources now occupy about 900 million of them," the blue-robed man said calmly. 900 million minor worlds. The prodigies all gasped, then couldn't help but show a proud expression. The human race was indeed one of the top races in the universe. Even in the myriad races strife zone, they could occupy 900 million minor worlds. "Don't be so surprised." The blue-robed man waved his hand. "We humans only occupy the 900 million minor worlds in the common zone. As for the mystic zone and the dark forbidden zone, the human race can't easily enter them." Everyone asked. They wanted to know what the so-called normal area meant. Before the blue-robed man could answer, a disciple from the Holy Land of Taichu answered. Although the entire central universe gave birth to countless worlds, it was also divided into 3 major regions: the common zone, the mystic zone, and the dark forbidden zone. The worlds in the common zone were worlds where ordinary people could live, but the worlds in the mystic zone were completely uninhabitable for ordinary people. Only sages could enter. However, there were countless treasures in the mystic zone. Even one world in the mystic zone could rival the wealth of 1,000,000 worlds in the common zone. Chapter 1962. Interesting. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He had some understanding of the central universe. It was divided into 3 regions: the ordinary region, the mystic region, and the forbidden darkness region. "Sir, is the mystic region really that powerful? What secrets do they hold?" Someone asked. "Of course they are," the middle-aged man in blue said. "Just like the famous dragon race. They live in a world called the Dragon Realm, which is located in the mystic region. There are also the demon race, formed by countless races. Many of their sages also occupy a world in the mystic region. They call it the Demon Realm, and they also have a place in the mystic region. In addition, there is the Qilin realm of the Qilin race, the Phoenix realm of the Phoenix race, the Elemental realm of the Elemental race, the Tree realm of the Tree race, and so on. They are all powerful races born in the mystic region. He said that many of the top races of the universe were born in the mystic region and occupied a place there. The human race naturally had a powerful world in the mystic region, but ordinary people could not enter such a world. Only sages had the right to enter. The demon realm. Could the place I entered last time be the demon realm of the central universe's mystic region? Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat, but after careful thought, he realized that the place he entered last time was not the demon realm of the mystic region, but a dimensional world created by the sages of the demon race. There seemed to be many similar demon realms among the demon race, but they were bases created to nurture prodigies. They could not compare to the demon realms of the mystic region. Boom! At that moment, the black spaceship shook slightly, as if it had hit something. It stopped for a moment. Oh, we've reached the periphery of the central universe. The middle-aged man in blue waved his hand, and the top of the spaceship split open, revealing a glass-like outer layer. The entire top of the spaceship became transparent. Everyone could see the situation outside the spaceship. They looked over and saw a huge spatial storm layer in front of them. There were countless spatial cracks in the storm layer, as if the universe had been cut into countless pieces. And from these spatial cracks came a terrifying energy that seemed capable of destroying everything. Ordinary planets would be destroyed in an instant in this storm layer. Any wind blade that flew out of the cracks could easily cut a planet in half. The Eastern Universe's prodigies were all shocked. They had seen places like this before, but they had always treated it as a forbidden zone for life. They had never tried to enter it. After all, they had not lived long enough. Whoosh! The black whale spaceship shook slightly, and its huge tail swayed gently like a whale. Just like that, it entered the space storm layer. Bang bang bang. Just as they entered, countless spatial wind blades blasted over, mincing everything in their path. They bombarded the black spaceship in a frenzy, as though they wanted to destroy everything that had invaded this place. Everyone watched on in fear. If the spaceship could not withstand it, they would be reduced to cosmic dust in an instant. However, such worries were completely unnecessary. The whale-like black spaceship's body trembled slightly, emitting azure energy that covered the entire spaceship. When the spatial wind blades came in contact with the blue energy, they all melted and disappeared. It was like a carefree whale that lived in the depths of the ocean. No matter what kind of stormy waves it encountered, they couldn't hurt it at all. What a strong defense! The prodigies from the eastern cosmos were amazed. They could sense how terrifying the spatial wind blades were. Each one of them had the power of a planetary obliteration cannon and could destroy a planet. However, these spatial wind blades had no effect on the black spaceship at all. It was like a gentle breeze. What's this? Suddenly, Xiaoping saw that deep in the void, there seemed to be huge strange patterns emerging from the cracks in the space. Those strange patterns seemed to contain infinite information and emitted strange and mysterious energy. He could sense that these strange patterns seemed to flow with the information of laws. Just by looking at them, he seemed to have a deeper understanding of many martial arts techniques. Oh, it seems like someone has finally discovered some secrets of the central cosmos. The man in blue saw Xiaoping's expression and smiled. Those strange patterns that appeared in the space cracks are actually real law patterns. They contain the truth of the laws. What law patterns? Everyone was shocked. They knew that if they wanted to advance to the sage realm, they needed to understand all kinds of universal laws and control all kinds of laws. This was why sages were so powerful. However, as mortals, no matter what, they could not understand the power of laws. It was like a blind man touching an elephant. Ordinary regions of the universe are extremely vast and perfect. There are no gaps, and they are extremely stable, the man in blue said. It is precisely because they are too perfect that the universal laws will not appear at all. It is extremely difficult for ordinary people to understand the universal laws. However, it is completely different in the central cosmos. This region is extremely unstable, and all kinds of spatial cracks appear. This also causes many universal laws to leak out. If you cultivate in the central cosmos, you will also have the chance to understand the laws of heaven and earth with your own eyes. You will feel the birth and growth of the universe, and you will know how the laws work. This will greatly increase your chances of breaking through to the sage realm. Naturally, the lines of laws that you see now are actually very weak. They do not contain too much information about the laws. Only after entering some concealed stage areas will you be able to see more powerful universal laws. I see. Xia Ping immediately understood why Dark North Sage wanted him to go to the central cosmos. Obtaining vast amounts of cultivation resources was only secondary. Most importantly, one could easily sense the various universal laws in the central cosmos. One could even see the operation of the laws with their own eyes. For cultivators, this was no less than an eternal miracle. No human powerhouse from other regions of the universe would have such an opportunity, so it would greatly increase one's chances of breaking through to the sage realm. Of course, it did not mean that one had to stay in the central cosmos. There were certain opportunities in other regions of the universe. The problem was that cultivating in the central cosmos would undoubtedly increase one's chances of breaking through and becoming a sage. Moreover, this was only an opportunity. Even in the central cosmos, where resources were abundant and it was easy to understand universal laws, there were countless human prodigies who could not break through to the sage realm. We're almost there. Chapter 1963. This is the central universe? Xia Ping looked at the holographic projection outside the ship and found that after passing through the spatial turbulence layer, the area was calm and peaceful. There was no danger at all. Everywhere he looked, there was a huge ball of light in front of him. These balls of light were colorful and extremely beautiful, like pearls in the ocean. These balls of light were extremely mysterious and powerful. They seemed to circulate the perfect laws of the universe and emitted a powerful aura. Without a doubt, these balls of light were the minor thousand worlds of the central universe. Many geniuses of the East universe also saw this scene. You guessed right. These balls of light are the worlds of the central universe, the middle-aged man in blue said. The blue-robed middle-aged man said, as long as we can break through the barriers of these worlds, we'll be able to enter these worlds. What about the Taichu Holy Land? Where is it? Someone asked curiously. The Taichu Holy Land is in one of these worlds. It's called the Taichu world. It's one of the bases of the human race. You will cultivate in the Taichu world from now on, the middle-aged man in blue said in a low voice. Whoosh! 6 hours passed in a flash. The black whale swam freely in this space, and with a gentle flick of its tail, it could travel several dozen light years away. Its speed was so fast that it was astounding. Stop. Who goes there? At that moment, a voice came from the distance. It was like the voice of the universe, shaking the blood of every prodigy in the ship. They almost vomited blood. It was extremely uncomfortable. It's me. I will open the passage to the Taichu world. The middle-aged man in blue said. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, a huge spatial passage appeared in the void, tearing through the void like a beam of light. It was vast and endless, extending to who knew where. The black ship shook slightly and immediately entered the spatial passage. What a huge world. After passing through the spatial passage, the ship arrived at the Taichu world. Everyone trembled. They used their divine senses to sense the surroundings and felt that this world was so vast that they couldn't see the end. Xia Ping also felt the vastness of this world. His divine sense could cover tens of billions of kilometers in an instant, but he still couldn't see the end of this world. Moreover, this world was filled with rich heaven and earth spirit qi, far more than any holy land he had ever seen. It was as if just breathing here could increase one's power. Xia Ping, this world is not filled with ordinary worldly energy, but the legendary primordial qi. Even the slightest trace of it contains 1,000,000 times more energy than ordinary worldly energy. Corinne was also amazed. Although he had followed the saints of the stars for a long time, he had never been to the holy land of Taichu. After all, it was the holy land of the human clan, and individual cultivators like the saints of the stars were not qualified to enter. Of course, it did not know how powerful the holy land of the human clan was. Now that it looked at it, it was like a country bumpkin entering a city. Of course it's huge. Hearing the words around him, the blue-robed man smiled slightly. The absolute beginning world is more than 3 million light-years in diameter. Even in the normal region, it's considered an extremely large world. Of course, the absolute beginning world was not the reason why it was a holy land for the human race. More importantly, it contained absolute beginning qi, which was extremely beneficial to human cultivation. Cultivating here would allow humans to advance by leaps and bounds. Back then, in order to fight for this absolute beginning world, the human race fought against countless other races. Countless people died before they finally seized it. In the end, it became the holy land of the human clan, cultivating an endless stream of human geniuses. Many of the geniuses of the Eastern universe were excited. They had also heard of the name of absolute beginning qi. Normally, it was a treasure that could not be found, but in this world, it could be swallowed and refined at will. It was said that refining a trace of absolute beginning qi could increase one's magical power and cultivation by 10 or 20 years. If one cultivated in this place all the time, the growth of magical power and cultivation would be unimaginable to ordinary people. It could only be said that the holy land of the human clan was too unfathomable. They all felt that coming to the holy land of Taichu was the right decision. If they had stayed in the Eastern universe, they would not have had any hope of breaking through to the Saint Realm. They would probably have died of old age. Okay, we're here. You can go down now. Someone will come to pick you up. At this moment, the blue-robed middle-aged man waved his hand. The black spaceship shook slightly, and a wave of energy quickly wrapped around everyone's body. In an instant, everyone was teleported out of the spaceship. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, everyone landed on a square. Xiaoping and the others curiously looked around the square and found that they had appeared in a huge city. There were high-rise buildings everywhere, extremely modern. They also sensed that this city was full of powerful auras, at least of the Transcendence realm. There were also many Thunder Tribulation realm experts, as if they were just ordinary residents of this city. Many of the geniuses were shocked. They had never seen so many powerful experts gathered. It was as if Thunder Tribulation realm experts were worthless, and any passerby was a top human expert. There was even an overwhelming aura coming from some corners of the city. Obviously, there were existences that had at least reached the Saint Realm. But they did not dare to explore at will, lest they angered the saints. There are so many experts here. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He felt it the most. Even if he did not use his divine sense to explore the surroundings, he could still sense that this city was full of powerful auras. It seemed that saints were everywhere. It could only be said that this was indeed the holy land of the human clan. Its foundation was so deep that the Eastern universe could not compare at all. At this moment, the appearance of Xiaoping and the others also attracted the attention of many people around the square. Haha, another group of little guys has joined the holy land of Taichu. Look at their ignorant faces. They should be humans from other regions of the universe, not from the central universe. I see. I wonder how many of them will be able to stay in the holy land of Taichu in a few years. There are so many geniuses in the holy land of Taichu, too many to count. Only a few can stay. Is it possible that this group of people has the qualifications to become a saint? You think too much. Even if they are from the central universe, not many have such qualifications. It can only be said that there is some hope. It is said that there is a little guy named Xiaoping among this group of geniuses. He is from the Heaven and Earth sect of the Eastern universe, and he once defeated several outer sect disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. This matter has caused a lot of discussion. There is such a thing. He has such strength without entering the Holy Land of Taichu. It seems that this kid has some skills. We should pay attention to him. Chapter 1964. Whoosh! At this time, a cyan light flew over from afar, and a man in a cyan robe appeared in front of them. Hello everyone. I'm Lu Zhong, the receptionist of the Holy Land of Taichu. The man in the cyan robe smiled. You're in one of the cities in the outer disciple area of the Holy Land of Taichu. It's called Green Jade City. You'll live here until you become inner disciples. Outer disciples. The Eastern Universe geniuses nodded. They knew that no matter how talented they were, they would only be outer disciples when they joined the Holy Land of Taichu for the first time. They had to meet a series of conditions to become inner disciples. No one was an exception. The absolute beginning world is very big, and so is Green Jade City. There's no shortage of houses, so each of you has a villa to live in. These are your identity cards. The man in the cyan robe waved his hand and threw out a ball of light. It immediately scattered into countless cyan light spots and fell into the hands of Xia Ping and the others. This identity card is very important. It contains the absolute beginning chip, which contains a series of information about you. If you want to enter your villa or enter the absolute beginning world, you need an identity card. If you don't have an identity card, you'll be regarded as an intruder and will be killed on the spot. No one can save you. Everyone looked very serious. They took the cyan light spots one after another. It was a mysterious biochip, which was immediately integrated into their communicators. Xiaoping also integrated the biochip into his communicator. Suddenly, the communicator seemed to be completely wrapped by the biochip, which kept expanding the memory inside. At the same time, it contained an incredible power that seemed to resonate with the absolute beginning world. First of all, let me tell you something. Lu Zhong looked at the crowd and said, "The most important thing in the Taichu world is points. With points, you can buy everything in the Holy Land of Taichu, such as elixirs, spirit herbs, divine powers, and secret manuals. You can even have a saint teach you personally. However, because you've just arrived at the Holy Land of Taichu, you're still considered novices. So each of you will have 50 points, which is a discount for novices. But after that, you'll have to earn them yourself." "Oh my god, I can really exchange them for elixirs and elixirs. A bottle of supreme grade elixir, Rising Dragon elixir, only costs 3 points? That's ridiculous. In the outside world, a bottle of peerless grade pills can't be bought without a few $100 million universe dollars. Now 3 points are actually enough. There are still a large number of Saint tier secret manuals here. Damn it, 10 points for each one. Exaggerated. This is really too exaggerated." Many people exclaimed in surprise. They turned on their communicators and immediately connected to the absolute beginning world's internal network. They could see a series of exchange tables. When they saw the dazzling array of items on the exchange list, all of their eyes turned red. They simply couldn't wait to exchange for all the items on the list and take them for themselves. Amazing. Xiaoping couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. The prices of those top-grade and peerless-grade elixirs were ridiculously low. A bottle could be bought for 3 points. There were also a large number of rare secret manuals. But after thinking about it carefully, it was very normal. After all, this was the Holy Land of Taichu, one of the holy lands of the human race. The resources it possessed were beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Moreover, after countless years, the human race had accumulated far too many secret techniques. So many that it was unimaginable. In the outside world, people would fight over it with all their might. But in the Holy Land of Taichu, it was just an ordinary book. As long as one had enough points, they could read it at will. Of course, the cheap price also proved the importance of points. In the Holy Land of Taichu, points were the real hard currency, and nothing else could compare to them. Okay, be quiet. Don't celebrate too early. LV Zhong waved his hand. You are novices, so you have a safe period of 10 years. During these 10 years, you can cultivate at will and use the resources of the Holy Land of Taichu to strengthen yourselves. But once the safe period is over, there will be a test every 10 years. If you pass the test, you can continue to stay in the Holy Land of Taichu. If you fail, you will be immediately eliminated and leave the Holy Land of Taichu. His face was very serious. Everyone was silent. They couldn't help but feel a sense of urgency in their hearts. In fact, they had heard similar things from their elders. Entering the Holy Land of Taichu was not the end, but just the beginning. Next, they would go through countless cruel tests. If they passed, they could continue to stay. If they failed, they would be eliminated. In fact, there were only a handful of people who could stay in the Holy Land of Taichu forever. Therefore, most people would be extremely serious and extend their stay in the Holy Land of Taichu. Otherwise, if they were eliminated by the Holy Land of Taichu after the safe period was over, they would miss out on many opportunities. Senior, I want to ask if points can be traded between each other? Xiaoping asked. Hearing this, Lu Zhong looked at Xiaoping with a little surprise. It seems that you have also discovered that points can be exchanged at will. They can be traded like currency. That is to say, if 100 people transfer 50 points to me, then I will have 5,000 points, right? Xiaoping touched his chin and looked around at the people around him. The people around him didn't know why all their hair stood on end, as if they were being stared at by some evil creature. They vaguely felt that the 50 points in their pockets seemed to be a little difficult to keep. Young man, what do you want to do? Don't mess around. Do you want to rob your companions? The corner of Lu Zhong's mouth twitched. He immediately felt that the boy in front of him was a dangerous creature. To tell you the truth, the Taichu world is an absolute safe zone. Any conflict is absolutely prohibited. Once discovered, you will be expelled from the Taichu world permanently, and even imprisoned for 100 years. Don't worry, I am a good citizen. I abide by the law. How could I do such a barbaric thing? Since the Holy Land of Taichu has such a rule, I wouldn't dare to do such a thing. But if we sign a contract and the other party voluntarily transfers the points, then there should be no problem, right? Xiaoping said carelessly. Voluntary transfer? Lu Zhong was speechless. Who in the world would voluntarily give money to others? This kid must be out of his mind. Of course there is no problem. Besides, this is the holy land of the human clan, a place where you can't do whatever you want. After thinking about it, Lu Zhong still said, but it is not impossible if you want to duel. But both parties need to agree to enter the arena together. That way, both parties can fight with each other, without breaking the rules of the Holy Land of Taichu. He knew that these youths were all hot-blooded, and had an inexhaustible amount of energy. A single word of disagreement would lead to conflict. It was impossible to completely stop the duel. Chapter 1965. Okay, that's enough for the introduction. You've traveled from the Eastern Universe to the Central Universe for a long time. Go back to your residences and rest. If you have any questions, you can ask me again. Lu Zhong waved his hand, indicating that the introduction had come to an end. Whoosh! After saying that, he immediately led Xiaoping and the others into the Green Jade City, and arrived at a neighborhood. There were many luxurious villas in this neighborhood. Each villa was heavily guarded, as if they were protected by a weapon system. Anyone who trespassed would be destroyed. They immediately took out their communicators and found their own villas. After passing the villa's security system, they entered their rooms. Xiaoping didn't hesitate. He found the villa he was assigned to, villa number 666. Then he swiped his card and entered. However, this villa wasn't much different from the other villas in the Eastern Universe. It had a bedroom, a living room, a kitchen, a quiet room, a practice room, and so on. Most importantly, the materials used to build this villa were very precious. It was surrounded by many restrictive formations. Even a Thunder Tribulation State cultivator couldn't damage this villa at all. After studying the villa for a while, he went back to his bedroom to rest. One day later, Xiaoping, who had rested for a day, felt refreshed. At the same time, he cultivated in this world and breathed in the Taichu Qi of this world. He immediately felt that his magic power was increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. He felt that he was a little stronger than he was yesterday. Of course, the increase in magic power was nothing for Xiaoping, who had the ninth just sea of knowledge. But for other cultivators, the benefits were too great. Cultivating in the Taichu world alone was 10 times faster than cultivating in other places. It seems that there is no teacher in the Holy Land of Taichu. It's all on one's own. Xiaoping soon found that there was no teacher in the Holy Land of Taichu to teach them anything. They had to learn everything by themselves. He also understood why. If cultivating in a saint-level sect was like entering a university, then entering the Holy Land of Taichu was like becoming a graduate student, or even a PhD. After reaching this level, they could actually learn on their own. Even professors couldn't teach them much. At this level, it was purely self-study. Therefore, the Holy Land of Taichu only provided a large number of resources to help these human geniuses cultivate quickly, just like how universities provided large amounts of funds to doctors for various scientific research. Of course, it didn't mean that he didn't have a master to guide him. If he had any doubts, he could spend points to ask the sage directly. This was also one of the benefits of the Holy Land of Taichu. It seems that points are very important in the Holy Land of Taichu. After a day of research, Xiaoping became more and more aware of the importance of points in the Holy Land of Taichu. Points were needed to eat and drink here. Points were needed to buy elixirs, spiritual herbs, magic treasures, and even all kinds of secret techniques. If they had enough points, they could even buy a sage weapon or hire a sage to fight for them. But it's quite difficult to get points. Xiaoping studied the ways to earn points. In fact, the main way to obtain points was to complete various tasks issued by the Holy Land of Taichu. After completing the tasks, a certain amount of points would be awarded. However, most of the mission completion points were only 10 points, 20 points, or even 100 points for the better ones. Of course, there were also missions that offered tens of thousands of points, but they required them to enter the mystic zones. These were missions that belonged to the sages. If mortals like them wanted to accept such missions, they would be courting death. In fact, there was a second way besides completing the tasks to get points. That was to sell all kinds of precious spiritual herbs, elixirs, and even magic treasures to the Holy Land of Taichu. This way they could also get a certain amount of points. After all, the Holy Land of Taichu also needed all kinds of disciples to help them obtain a lot of resources. However, these were all bought at low prices, which was not cost-effective. But compared with the points obtained by completing tasks, this was the most convenient way for the rich disciples to get points. In fact, this was also one of the sources of income for the Holy Land of Taichu. Beep! At this moment, the doorbell outside the villa rang. Who is it? Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. He immediately turned on the virtual projection, and the scene outside the villa was displayed. Suddenly, there were more than a dozen people standing at the door, all of whom were geniuses from the Eastern universe. Brother Xia, I'm Wei Liangsheng, a true disciple of the Soaring Cloud sect. A young man in white stood at the door and said to the villa's monitor. He knew that Xiaoping must be talking to him through the monitor. Oh, what's the matter? Xiaoping asked. Here's the thing. We're all from the Eastern universe. After coming to the Central universe, we're unfamiliar with the people and the place. We're from the same place, so we want to get to know you, Brother Xia. In the future, we can take care of each other in the Holy Land of Taichu. After all, there's strength in numbers. Wei Liangsheng of the Soaring Cloud sect stated his purpose. He wanted to make friends with Xiaoping. I see. My favorite thing to do is to make friends. The more friends I have, the more strength I have, Xiaoping said casually. That's great. Wei Liangsheng was overjoyed when he heard this. It's noon. I wonder if Brother Xia would like to have lunch with us, so we can get to know each other. He didn't expect to invite Xiaoping so easily. He originally thought that such a peerless genius must be extremely arrogant and difficult to make friends with. He was prepared to be rejected, but he didn't expect Xiaoping to agree, which made him overjoyed. The other geniuses of the Eastern universe were also slightly happy. After all, they all knew Xiaoping's reputation. He was the only true disciple of Dark North Saint, and he had even defeated many geniuses from the Holy Land of Taichu. Such a thing was enough to make him famous in the Eastern universe. After all, they had also fought with those disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu before, but they failed miserably and were no match for them. They didn't think it was a bad thing to make friends with such a genius. No problem. Xiaoping thought about it and left. He came to the door of the villa. He also wanted to make friends with this group of people and see if he could get some special information. May I know who these people are? As soon as he came out, Xiaoping looked at the people around Wei Liangsheng. Oh, this is Yin Shiheng from Thunder Sect. This is Kong Chung from Yellow Sand Sect. This is Hua Bei from Five Elements sect. Wei Liangxing introduced these geniuses from the Eastern universe to Xiaoping one by one. I see. It's an honor to meet you, Xiaoping said politely. Chapter 1966. Before long, Xiaoping and the others arrived at the cafeteria of Green Jade City. There was a black wooden plaque with a few golden words on it. Green Jade Imperial Kitchen. This was the place where many outer disciples of Green Jade City ate. It was the size of 10 forbidden palaces on Xiaoping's earth in his previous life. At this moment, many people had already entered the Green Jade Imperial Kitchen in groups of 3 to 5. They seemed to be discussing martial arts, cultivation, and information about various missions. There were at least 100,000 people in this place. I didn't expect the Holy Land of Taichu to have so many outer disciples. Kong Chung of Yellow Sand Sect exclaimed. Of course, this is only a small part of it. There are already a lot of people in the East Universe, South Universe, North Universe, and West Universe. Wei Liangsheng of the Soaring Cloud Sect said. Not to mention that we humans control 900 million worlds in the Central Universe. The number of humans living in each world is incalculable. Even if there is only one genius in each world, there are 900 million outer disciples. Of course, it is even more difficult to enter the Holy Land of Taichu. I'm afraid there may not be one genius in 100 worlds. Also, countless geniuses are eliminated from the Holy Land of Taichu every year. Even so, the number of ordinary outer disciples in the Holy Land of Taichu is always in the tens of millions. Everyone nodded. The universe was too vast, and there were too many humans to count. Even if the probability of geniuses appearing was low, there would still be a lot of them. I heard that all the food in the Green Jade Imperial Kitchen is free. I wonder if that's true. Yin Shihing of the Thunder Sect asked curiously. Of course it's true. I've already asked the receptionist, Lu Zhong. Everything here is free. Wei Liangsheng of the Soaring Cloud Sect smiled. Then what are we waiting for? Let's hurry up and eat. I'm starving. Hua Bei of the Five Elements Sect said eagerly. The group of people found a table nearby. Suddenly, a virtual projection appeared on the table, and a series of luxurious menus appeared on the virtual screen. My God, the staple food is spirit rice and wishful silver rice. They can eat as much as they want. They're so rich. A bowl of wishful silver rice like this is worth 100,000 universe credits in the outside world. Aren't they afraid that we'll bankrupt the Holy Land of Taichu by eating so much? This is nothing. There's also glazed lotus soup, steamed white tiger bone, longevity porridge, 10 perfect tonic soup, and so on. The ingredients in them are all expensive. It's really too extravagant. To be honest, I'm also from a big family with a net worth of hundreds of millions, but I can't eat as much as you do. Isn't that right? Eating once or twice is fine, but eating every day, who can stand it? Moreover, the family has so many people. One bite from each person can bankrupt the family. No wonder the Holy Land of Taichu is so rich. Everyone exclaimed in admiration. They didn't expect there to be so many delicacies, and they were all free. If they ate these delicacies for a long period of time, their bodies would undergo a subtle change, and their aptitude would increase. It was the same even if they advanced to the law phase realm. Haha, what a bunch of country bumpkins who have never seen the world. You're making such a big fuss over such a small amount of food. You're a disgrace to the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. Have you never eaten anything in your life? At this moment, a voice rang out from the side. It was very arrogant. What? Hearing this, everyone looked over and glared at the speaker. They found that it was a young man in cyan who spoke. There were 5 or 6 young men beside him, all of whom exuded the aura of the peak of the law phase realm. They also looked at Hua Bei and the others mockingly, as if they were watching a monkey show. What's wrong? What are you looking at? Haven't you seen the geniuses of the Holy Land of Taichu? You're really a country bumpkin with no knowledge. How laughable. The man in cyan mocked with contempt, extremely arrogant. Hua Bei and the others were furious, but they also remembered the rules of the Holy Land of Taichu. They couldn't fight in private, or they would be immediately expelled from the Holy Land of Taichu. They didn't want to be eliminated just because they broke the rules when they just arrived at the Holy Land of Taichu. So they endured it and didn't argue with the other party. You what? You look like you're not convinced. What did I say wrong? Just say it. Country bumpkins just don't understand human language, do you? Seeing that Hua Bei and the others were angry, but didn't dare to speak, the man in cyan became even more arrogant. We can understand human language, but I'm afraid that someone is not speaking human language, but barking dog language. Who can understand such words? It's a bit too much. At this time, Xiaoping said lightly. Hearing this, Hua Bei and the others suddenly laughed, laughing loudly. Boss, that guy called you a dog. A black-clothed lackey next to him immediately shouted. Shut up. Do you think I don't fucking understand? I don't need you to talk too much. The green-robed man cursed loudly. He wanted nothing more than to slap his own little brother. His face darkened as he glared at Xiaoping and said, Little brat, you've got guts, huh? How dare you talk to me, Xian, like that? Are you tired of living in Green Jade City? Don't pretend. Even if your father is the city lord of Green Jade City, I can still stay in Green Jade City. Do you believe it or not? Xiaoping said disdainfully. He could tell at a glance that this guy was pretending. Good, very good. What's your name? If you have the guts, tell me. I'd like to see what kind of superhuman you are. The man in cyan was furious, staring at Xiaoping with a gloomy face. I'm Yin Shishing of the Five Elements sect of the Eastern Universe. If you have the guts, come and take revenge on me. I Yin Shishing will wait for you, Xiaoping said carelessly. Hearing this, Wei Liangxing, Yin Shiheng, Kong Chung and the others' mouths twitched. They looked at Xiaoping speechlessly. This was the first time they had seen someone lie without batting an eyelid. He was too thick-skinned. Well, I'll remember you, Yin Shishing, Xian said coldly. He wanted to say something, but before he finished, someone jumped out from the side. Wait, brother, don't fall for this bastard's trick. He's definitely not Yin Shishing. I'm the real Yin Shishing, the real Yin Shishing. This bastard's real name is Xiaoping. Universe Sex Xiaoping, the evil Xiaoping. Don't take revenge on the wrong person. It was a young man in white. He was originally watching the show from the side, but now, he jumped out in exasperation. He glared at Xiaoping, wanting nothing more than to eat this bastard up. He was Yin Shishing of the Five Elements sect. What do you mean? What do you mean you're the real Yin Shishing? Why are you jumping out to cause trouble? Xian said unhappily. Brother, you don't know. This bastard likes to pretend to be someone else's identity and cause trouble everywhere, making others take the blame for him. I've been harmed badly by this bastard. To tell you the truth, I'm the real Yin Shishing of the Five Elements sect. That bastard is talking nonsense. He's lying to you. His name is Xiaoping. Chapter 1967. At this moment, Yin Shishing stared at Xiaoping angrily, wishing he could eat this shameless bastard alive. To be honest, he was very happy when he saw this scene just now. This scourge had offended the local tyrant as soon as he arrived. How could he live a good life in the holy land of Taichu in the future? He could imagine that this kid would have a hard time in the holy land of Taichu in the future. Maybe he would even be suppressed to the point where he couldn't stand out. But how could he have known that Xiaoping was so sinister and full of evil tricks? At this time, he actually wanted to pretend to be him. He wanted to cause trouble by saying that he was the Five Elements sect's Yin Shishing. If this kid really succeeded, wouldn't the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu come after him? He would be the scourge of this bastard. Thinking of what happened before, it was this bastard's big mouth that went around saying that he and Yin Shishing were best friends. He also caused trouble everywhere and killed demons. Those demons couldn't do anything to Xiaoping, so they came to kill him. Yin Shishing was a true disciple of the Five Elements sect, and a disciple of a sage. He had a promising future, but he almost couldn't stay in the Eastern Universe anymore. It was all because of this bastard. But now that he was in the Holy Land of Taichu, this bastard still didn't let him go. He even wanted to make Yin Shishing a scourge. How could he tolerate this? He would never sit back and watch this kind of thing continue to happen. Oh, brother Yin, how have you been? I didn't expect to meet you in the cafeteria. It must be fate. Why didn't I see you on the spaceship? Did you come to the Holy Land of Taichu in advance? Xia Ping greeted Yin Shishing warmly. Fate my ass. Yin Shishing wanted to rush up and punch this bastard so hard that he couldn't take care of himself. If he hadn't been there, he probably wouldn't have known that he was the scourge. Maybe someone would put a sack on his back and beat him up while he was walking on the streets of Qingyu City. He wouldn't even know what would happen after he was beaten up. Damn bastard. How dare you lie to me and use a fake name to fool me? How dare you? At this moment, Xian finally knew what had happened. He suddenly became furious and glared at Xia Ping. How could I fool you? With Brother Xi's intelligence, do you think I can fool you? I'm sure you've seen through everything I said just now. Xia Ping said carelessly. Xian was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood, but he couldn't say anything. Because if he denied Xia Ping's words, wouldn't that mean that he had been fooled and had a low IQ? However, he didn't deny Xia Ping's words. His anger was completely unreasonable. Both his paths of retreat and forward were blocked by this bastard. He was in a dilemma and didn't know what to say. Xia Ping, cut the crap. Don't quibble here. Why did you pretend to be me just now? Yin Shishing angrily glared at Xia Ping. What impersonation? Brother Yin and I are best friends. Your name is my name, and my pot is your pot. There's no distinction between us, so why bother? Xia Ping waved his hand. I see. You two are in cahoots. Xian suddenly understood. No, I'm not with him. This brat and I are irreconcilable. Do you know that? Yin Shishing was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He didn't want to be involved with this bastard. Anyway, if he got involved with this brat, it would not end well for him. Wait, Xia Ping? This name is familiar. I seem to have heard it from somewhere. Suddenly, a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu next to him seemed to think of something and stared at Xia Ping. Are you the disciple of the Qingkuan sect who defeated Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, Meng Jinshuan, and other disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu? What? My reputation has spread to the Holy Land of Taichu? Is it that famous? Xia Ping touched his chin and said happily. Unknowingly, he had become so famous. Haha, of course you're famous. You're just a country bumpkin who beat a few disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu by luck. How dare you say that our disciples are all fake? This matter has spread all over the Holy Land of Taichu. Many people want to make trouble for you. They want to see how powerful you are. And how dare you be so arrogant? Xian sneered. After knowing that Xia Ping was the legendary person, his attitude immediately changed. He stared at Xia Ping, as if he was looking at his prey, and no longer wanted to make peace. So this brat is Xia Ping. I've been looking for him for a long time. This guy defeated Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, Meng Jinshuan, and the others. He doesn't look that great. How dare he say that our disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu are all fake? How dare he? We must teach this newcomer a lesson, and let him know why this is the holy land of the human race. The universe is very big, and it's not a place where a bumpkin like him can run amok. Inside the cafeteria, many outer disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu were alarmed. They surrounded Xia Ping and glared at him. They were also infuriated by the news, because as disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu, each of them had a supreme sense of honor and could not tolerate being slandered by others. Now there was someone who dared to despise the Holy Land of Taichu like this. If this was just said by an insignificant person, they would not take it seriously. But this person had defeated 3 outer disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu and said these words with the attitude of a winner. This immediately caused the crowd to be agitated. Even the Palace of Darkness laughed at the Holy Land of Taichu when they found out about this. They despised and ridiculed them every day. It was conceivable that this was simply adding fuel to the fire, and the situation was completely intensified. Seeing the powerful auras surrounding them, Wei Liangsheng, Yin Shiheng, Kong Cheng, and the others were so scared that their faces turned pale. They regretted it so much that their intestines turned green. If they had known that Xia Ping had become the target of public criticism, they would never have made friends with him. Now that they had become Xia Ping's friends, they would inevitably be targeted by other disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. Maybe they would be regarded as Xia Ping's accomplices and be attacked for revenge. They suddenly felt that their future was bleak. Originally, they had planned to keep a low profile in the Holy Land of Taichu and grow wretchedly. They did not expect that God would not give them this opportunity at all. Yin Shishing's heart trembled with fear. Fortunately he jumped out in time. If he really took the blame for Xia Ping, his life would be extremely miserable. Say it, Xia Ping. If you dare to say it again, I will give you a chance to reorganize your words now. If you dare to say that our disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu are fake, that we are vulnerable. Xian shouted, trying to intimidate Xia Ping into bowing his head. Oh, a bunch of idiots. So what if I say it? Isn't it the truth? Bite me if you have the guts. Chapter 1968. What? As soon as this remark came out, it immediately caused an uproar among the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. They had no idea that Xia Ping dared to say such a thing in front of so many people, asking them to bite him. How arrogant was he? He was treating them like dogs, the kind that like to bite people everywhere. Crazy, this kid is crazy. Yin Shishing and the others were so scared that they almost fainted. To be honest, in the current situation, Xian and the others were a pack of wolves, and they were a flock of sheep, weak and defenseless sheep. In the face of this group of hungry wolves, this kid still dared to provoke them so unscrupulously, asking them to bite him. He was afraid that he would die. Generally speaking, in the face of such a situation, it was not a big deal to bow down and apologize a little. This was called retreating in order to advance, which was a brilliant combat strategy. But what was going on now? This kid directly provoked them, leaving no room for negotiation. They had never seen such a reckless person. He was obviously a little sheep, but he foolishly rushed toward a group of hungry wolves. Wasn't this a sheep walking into a tiger's mouth? What an arrogant bastard. Motherfucker. If this wasn't the Holy Land of Taichu, I would have killed him immediately. I've long heard that this country bumpkin is extremely arrogant and condescending, but I didn't expect it to be true. This guy is finished. He dared to offend so many of us. Even if the Holy Land of Taichu is very big, there is absolutely no place for him. His life is completely over. Many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu gritted their teeth, wishing they could immediately rush up and bite this arrogant kid to death. However, they still had scruples about the strict rules of the Holy Land of Taichu, so they dared not do anything here. Brat, you've got guts. Xian shouted angrily and stared at Xia Ping provocatively. In that case, do you dare to fight me in the duel field? Let's see who is the real fake. Duel field? Xia Ping blinked and looked at Xian. Before he could speak, Wei Liangxing next to him spoke. Xia Ping, don't be impulsive. Don't agree to this request. Once you enter the duel arena, if you lose, you'll have to lose at least 10 points to the opponent. If it's a bet, you'll lose even more points. His expression was very serious. We only have 50 points. If we lose 10 points, I'm afraid we'll lose a lot of things, which will slow down our progress. This guy is really sinister. Wei Liangxing had once looked up the rules of the dueling arena. Although they could duel at will, they had to pay a certain price every time they fought. Some veterans liked to find rookies to duel in order to earn rookie points. Rookies didn't know the importance of points in the beginning, and as a result, their points were emptied by the veterans, resulting in heavy losses. Haha, this is a genius who once defeated a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu. He's very powerful. You'll definitely win. What are you afraid of? Or are you afraid of losing to me? Xian tried to goad him into action. What? Why would I be afraid of you? Who the hell do you think you are? I can defeat someone like you in a matter of minutes. You're just a piece of trash that gives me points. As expected, Xia Ping was infuriated and immediately shouted, Xia Ping, don't fall into this guy's trap. Wei Liangxing dissuaded him. Although this guy is also a Transcendence Realm cultivator, he has been cultivating in the Holy Land of Taichu for a long time. His martial arts and combat experience are not comparable to ordinary cultivators of the same level. It's stupid to rashly fight with him. Why don't we wait for a period of time and improve our strength? It's not too late to fight then. Wait my ass. It's too late to wait for a period of time. Do I have to wait for you to advance to the sage realm before fighting? Don't talk nonsense. If you have the guts, fight now. What's the point of talking? If you don't dare, surrender, kowtow, apologize and say that you're useless, Xian sneered. He stared at Wei Liangsheng, his eyes full of warning. If you dare to talk nonsense again, it'll be your turn to suffer. Seeing this look, Wei Liangsheng suddenly felt a chill in his heart and didn't dare to talk anymore. Don't worry, this guy is just a piece of trash that can be defeated with one punch. It's a fool's dream to think that he can beat me. Xia Ping waved his hand to reassure Wei Liangsheng. But fighting one round is really too easy. If you want to fight, fight all of us. He stood with his hands behind his back and looked around. If any of you are dissatisfied with me or not convinced by me, feel free to jump out. I will accept all of you. Whoever loses the competition will lose 50 points. Do you dare? What? As soon as these words came out, many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu were enraged. They glared at Xia Ping. This guy was so arrogant that he even dared to challenge all of them. How much did this bastard want to look down on them before he gave up? And he dared to say that if he lost the match, he would lose 50 points. Did he think he would win? Did this guy know how much 50 points were in the Holy Land of Taichu? Xia Ping, you're really brave. You even dare to bet 50 points on a round. Someone shouted. But it won't work, because if you lose the match, you can't afford it. Then why should we bet with you? Who said I can't afford it? I don't have much, but I have a lot of money. Xia Ping looked like a nouveau riche. What's the use of money? Only points are useful here. A group of disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu said contemptuously. Oh, in that case, how many points can this holy herb be exchanged for? Xia Ping waved his hand and immediately took out a stalk of sage medicine. What? This kid actually has a stalk of sage medicine? It's really a holy herb. Its medicinal power is so strong. It has already surpassed the medicinal power of 2 million years. Damn, what kind of luck does this kid have? How can he have a holy herb? Such a holy herb can be exchanged for at least 30,000 points in the Holy Land of Taichu. Generally speaking, no one will exchange for it because holy herbs are too precious. They might as well use it themselves. Many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu were green with envy. They couldn't wait to immediately take the holy herb in Xia Ping's hands for themselves. They didn't expect this kid to be so rich that he even had a holy herb. What a fuss! A group of country bumpkins who have never seen the world. To tell you the truth, I have a lot of holy herbs like this. They're like weeds. Do you think I can afford to pay you back? Xia Ping looked at the crowd like a nouveau riche looking at a pauper. The other side was completely inexperienced. Keep bragging. You don't have to pay taxes for bragging anyway. You have a lot of holy herbs like weeds. Why don't you go to heaven? If it's true, even a saint is not as rich as you. But even if I don't have a lot, a few holy herbs are enough to pay for it. This kid is not bragging. He really has some skills. He's rich. Chapter 1969. Stop talking. Do you want to fight or not? Don't waste my time. I'm very busy, and I can get a few holy herbs in a minute, Xia Ping said impatiently. Okay, I'll bet with you. Since you want to give me points, there's nothing to be afraid of. I want to have a showdown with you today. The first person to speak was Xian. He couldn't wait any longer, because this was clearly a profitable business. He could earn 50 points with a random fight. He would be a fool if he didn't agree. It was better than going out to do a few tasks without any risk. I'll bet too. Haha. I've never seen a person who wants to give away money like this in my life. It would be strange if I didn't bet. Count me in. It doesn't matter if it's money or not. I just want this kid to see the strength and integrity of a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu, which you outsiders can't compare with. That's right. The humans from our central universe are the strongest. The humans from other universes are all useless. I want to prove this point. Seeing that the first person stood up, the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu couldn't sit still anymore. They all agreed to fight with Xia Ping, with a bet of 50 points. After all, this was a bet to give away money, and they had no reason to refuse. Although this kid had defeated the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu, none of the people present had such a record. They were all peerless talents from all over the human race, and no one would think that they were worse than others. Good, very good. Then line up, sign up one by one, and sign the gambling contract. Xia Ping yelled, telling the group to line up obediently. Time passed quickly, and an hour passed. As a result, more than 10,000 people signed up to fight with Xia Ping. Of course, a considerable number of disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu kept a wait-and-see attitude. They still had some doubts in their hearts, thinking that Xia Ping was a little too confident. Maybe he had some skills, but he didn't dare to sign up. Some people didn't even have 50 points. Even if they spent all of them, they wouldn't be able to save their lives. They were so angry that they pounded their chests, regretting spending their points too fast. The group of geniuses from the Eastern Universe was stunned when they saw this. Is Xia Ping crazy? If we lose all the matches, we'll lose 500,000 points. How many quests will we have to complete to get that back? We won't be able to earn it back even if we die. But if I win all of them, I'll earn 500,000 points and become rich overnight. Bullshit, it's not that simple. Do you really think these disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu are made of mud? Kong Chung and the rest were shocked by this scene. That's where you're wrong. This is actually Brother Xia's brilliance. Wei Liangxing smiled faintly, showing a confident look. Brother Wei, what do you think about this? The group of people asked curiously. Wei Liangxing said, on the surface, it looks like the scale of this duel is very big, and if you lose you'll go bankrupt. But in fact, Brother Xia is deliberately making this matter bigger. Think about it carefully. If you were to duel with one person, you would lose, and it would be very difficult to make a comeback. However, it's different to duel with 10,000 people. As long as the probability of winning is more than 50%, it's a guaranteed profit, and the higher the probability of winning, the more profit. There is no doubt that Brother Xia won this gambling fight. He won before the fight even started. Those people didn't think of this, and were fooled by Brother Xia. I'm afraid it's too late to regret now. So that's how it is. I didn't expect Brother Xia to be so treacherous. He could even think of this. His family runs a casino, right? In fact, he doesn't need to win all the matches. Once the winning rate exceeds 50%, he can make a lot of money, more than us, and become rich overnight. Maybe he can earn tens of thousands of points. The group of people suddenly realized. Their intestines suddenly turned green with jealousy, because they knew how difficult it was to earn points in the Holy Land of Taichu. Many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu had been here for 10 years, and had not accumulated more than 100 points. But now Xia Ping had the opportunity to earn tens of thousands of points every minute. If this wasn't getting rich overnight, what was it? Damn it, is this guy going to make a lot of money again? Yin Shirshing next to him was extremely jealous. This was supposed to be a crisis, but it was casually played by this kid, and turned into a business that could make a lot of money. The world was really too unfair. This matter quickly spread throughout Qingyu City, and even the outer disciples of other cities knew about it. Because a new disciple actually challenged tens of thousands of disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. This was simply an unprecedented event. Have you heard? Xia Ping from the Qianquan sect of the Eastern Universe actually dared to challenge tens of thousands of people. He's simply too bold. And if he loses a match, he'll lose 50 points. Are you kidding me? How can this bet be made? Isn't he afraid that Xia Ping can't afford to lose? It's said that the kid is very rich. He has a bunch of holy medicines on him. If he doesn't have enough points, he'll pay with holy medicines. Damn it, damn rich people, and a bunch of holy medicines. Why haven't I seen any of them? It's so unfair. I wonder who will win, and who will lose this bet. Do you even need to ask? Xia Ping will definitely lose. He's just a bumpkin from the Eastern Universe. How can he compare to us geniuses from the Central Universe? There's no way he can compare. That's right. The Central Universe has 900 million world layers. We are all geniuses selected from these 900 million world layers. How can that kid compare to us? Just wait and see. That kid will definitely lose everything this time. It doesn't matter how much money he has. He'll lose everything. Interesting. When will the duel begin? It's said that it's tonight. That kid plans to fight one after the other and finish it all in one go. He's so arrogant. He really thinks that the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu are fake. This time, we must let that bumpkin know how powerful we are from the central universe. We're definitely not someone that those people from the barren lands can casually provoke. After hearing the news, many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu were also very interested. They wanted to know what kind of tricks Xia Ping, who dared to challenge tens of thousands of disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu, had. They all set out to the duel arena, and this matter even affected some saint-level existences. They also heard about it. Interesting. Recently, a little guy has just entered the Holy Land of Taichu and caused a big event. Haha, that little guy seems to be Brother Baiming's last disciple. What? He's Baiming's disciple? That's a little interesting. I wonder what he's capable of. Let's go and have a look. If he doesn't have some ability, he wouldn't dare to cause such a scene. Chapter 1970. At night, in the arena of Qingyu City. The arena was large enough to hold millions of seats, all stacked on top of each other. The dueling platform in the middle covered an area of over 1,000 square kilometers. There were even restrictive magic formations set up around it. Ordinary powers would not be able to damage the dueling platform at all. The audience sitting in the seats would also be protected by the boundary, so they would not be threatened by the shockwaves of the duel. At this moment, Xia Ping, Xian, and the other geniuses of the central universe were also waiting for the duel to begin. The audience seats were also filled with spectators. There was not a single empty seat. One could imagine how much attention this duel would attract. Which one of us will go first? Xian looked at the crowd and wanted to ask who wanted to go first. For a moment, everyone was silent and refused to speak. Although they were extremely confident in their own strength, Xia Ping was an expert who had defeated Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, and Meng Zhenshuan. No matter how much they underestimated him, there was a limit. The first to go would definitely be the most dangerous. They had no idea what the other party's trump card was, so they were very hesitant and wanted to see what the situation was like. All of you are so timid. Do you think you are disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu? He is just a country bumpkin from the Eastern universe. I Miao Wushuang can defeat him in minutes. At this moment, a young man in a flowery shirt stood up and said that he would go first. Miao Wushuang is going first? Looks like we are in the bag this time. Who is Miao Wushuang? You don't even know him? Looks like you are really ignorant. This kid is one of the direct descendants of the Miao family. He has reached the peak of the Transcendence realm at only 500 years old. He is said to be one of the descendants of the Miao family, with the most hope of becoming a sage. It is said that the patriarch of the Miao family values him very much. I see. Looks like defeating Xia Ping this time is a sure thing. Indeed. Although Miao Wushuang is not the best among the outer sect disciples, his combat strength is also obvious. His battle record is impressive. Everyone was talking. Obviously, many people knew Miao Wushuang. He was an extremely powerful expert in Qingyu City. Ordinary people were definitely not his match. Miao Wushuang, you have to be careful. He is an expert who defeated Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, and Meng Zhenshuan. He might have some powerful trump cards. Xian reminded him. Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, and Meng Zhenshuan are nothing. How can they compare to me? Miao Wushuang said proudly. Who doesn't know that I, Miao Wushuang, am proficient in 36 divine abilities, such as moon and stars, 10,000 mammoth gravity, dark hell demonic palm, 6 gods chaotic cudgel, 1,000 water force, fierce bird claw, universe seal, and so on. Every one of them has earth-shattering power that can tear mountains and rivers. If I were to use of all of them, I would be Miao. A country bumpkin from the eastern cosmos like him has never seen many experts. He doesn't know how to write the word death. If he wants to fight me, Miao Wushuang. He was. Of his head. With of Chun. Get lost. Don't compare me with you. You're just an ant. If you want me to be careful, you have to have the right to be careful. Miao Wushuang said disdainfully. Just wait and see. I will use all of my skills to teach this kid a lesson one by one. I will let him know how big the universe is, and how insignificant he is. Don't think that he can come to the central universe and show off in the holy land of Taichu, just because he defeated a few pieces of trash. Whoosh! As soon as he finished, he did not waste any more words. With a flash, he jumped onto the arena and faced Xia Ping from afar. Kid, the first battle will be between me and you. Miao Wushuang stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He looked at the sky arrogantly, as if he did not want to look at Xia Ping. It is your honor to have the opportunity to fight with me, one of the top cultivators in Green Jade City. This is a great opportunity that many people may not get in their lifetime. It is a supreme honor. Of course, because this is the arena of the holy land of Taichu, you will not die, but you will inevitably be seriously injured. I hope you will learn your lesson this time. Don't casually provoke cultivators who are stronger than you. That is the road to death. Oh, so you are the strongest cultivator in Green Jade City. You dare to be the first to fight? It seems that you are quite capable. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and looked at Miao Wushuang. Ignorant country bumpkin. How can you describe my strength in words? Stop talking nonsense and start. Let your body feel what is going on. I hope you will not lose so quickly. Let me enjoy the thrill of battle. Miao Wushuang smiled ferociously. Clang at this moment. The bell on the arena rang, resounding over the entire arena, indicating that the duel had officially begun. Martial arts magic, all nature's gravity. Miao Wushuang shouted and made a seal with his hands. With his body as the center, a terrifying gravitational field was immediately generated, covering a radius of thousands of kilometers, enveloping the entire arena. Suddenly, a terrifying gravitational force was generated in this gravitational field. Even the space seemed to be distorted. Every gravel was crushed by the gravitational force, and the entire arena was shaking. Any cultivator in this gravitational field would find it difficult to move an inch. It was as if there were tens of thousands of mountains on their bodies. Haha, stupid guy. Under my all nature's gravity, you probably can't even breathe. Surrender obediently. Fuck, what the hell is going on? Miao Wushuang intended to appreciate the dejection, unwillingness, and indignation of his vanquished opponent lying on the floor under the infinite gravity. He also intended to ridicule him and give a speech of victory. But suddenly, he found that the young man had ignored his gravitational force. In a flash, he appeared in front of him and punched him in the head. The punch landed on his head and immediately caused a loud sound like the morning bell and evening drum. The void exploded, and his body flew out as if it was out of his control. Dong! In the next second, his entire body fiercely smashed into a barrier in the air above the arena, causing the entire barrier to shake and buzz incessantly. At the same time, the barrier produced a terrifying recoil force. Pfft! Miao Wushuang spat out a mouthful of blood, which splattered on the ground. His body fell from the sky above the barrier and smashed into the ground, creating a deep pit. Chapter 1971. Whoosh! Miao Wushuang fainted after being hit by the fist. Suddenly, a ray of light wrapped around his body and teleported him away. He was immediately taken away for emergency treatment. This was one of the functions of the dueling ring. It could teleport people who were on the verge of death out at any time, ensuring the safety of the duelist to the greatest extent possible. This is one of the top masters in Green Jade City. How could he be knocked out with just one punch? He's too fragile. Kong Chung of the Yellow Sand sect couldn't help but yell in the audience. He couldn't believe his eyes. A group of disciples from the holy land of Taichu couldn't help but cover their faces. It was so embarrassing. They had boasted that they were invincible before. But now they couldn't even take a punch, and were directly taken away for treatment. They felt that this punch not only defeated Miao Wushuang, but also slapped the faces of many disciples from the holy land of Taichu. They would think that the disciples from the holy land of Taichu were so fragile that they couldn't even take a punch. Didn't he say that he was proficient in 36 divine powers, and that each of them had earth-shattering power? Why didn't he use them? In Shiheng of the Thunder sect was also stunned. He had wanted to see how powerful the disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu were, but he didn't expect that he would be knocked out by Xia Ping with just one punch. It's not that Miao Wushuang didn't want to use them, it's just that Brother Xia is too powerful. Wei Liangsheng of the Cloud Soaring Sect's eyes lit up. You didn't see it, but Miao Wushuang is indeed powerful. His all-nature gravity can create an omnipresent gravitational field. Ordinary people can't do anything in that gravitational field. They can only be severely suppressed and can't move an inch. His arrogance is reasonable. Unfortunately, he was so unlucky to meet a monster like Brother Xia, who could completely ignore his gravitational field and directly beat him up with one punch. That being said, because the battle happened too fast, no one noticed Miao Wushuang's strength. Everyone only saw Miao Wushuang yell a few words, and then be beaten up by a punch. Even if they wanted to say a few words and say that Miao Wushuang was worthy of his reputation, they couldn't. The human geniuses from other universes were suddenly in an uproar. I didn't expect the disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu to be so weak. They couldn't even take a punch. I thought the Holy Land of Taichu was amazing, but it turns out that it's just SOSO. I'm really disappointed. With this level of strength, they dare to strut around in front of us. To think that they have the face to do so. It looks like our initial caution was unnecessary. These geniuses from the central cosmos are nothing to fear. Everyone was discussing this because this battle had completely filled them with confidence. They were all humans. Even if this group of people came from the central universe, they were only SOSO. If they were given enough time, they could easily catch up. Damn it! It's all that idiot Miao Wushuang's fault. He's a disgrace to our central cosmos. The geniuses of the central universe gnashed their teeth in anger when they heard this. They had been extremely arrogant in front of this group of people, acting like city people looking down on country bumpkins. But now that Miao Wushuang had been defeated, they were being looked down upon. Xian and the others also had ugly expressions on their faces. They didn't expect that the famous Miao Wushuang couldn't even take a punch from Xia Ping. This was far beyond their expectations. After all, even if Miao Wushuang was a fake, he shouldn't have been unable to take a punch. This bastard had boasted that he was proficient in 36 mystic arts. It turned out that it was all fake. Who's next? Hurry up and don't waste my time. I have to go back to sleep. Xia Ping stood on the dueling platform and urged. The group of people was furious when they heard this. This bastard was too arrogant. What did he think this duel was? He was already so nervous, yet he still wanted to go back to sleep. Did he think this duel was a game? Or was it just an after-dinner exercise for this kid? Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, a figure flashed and immediately appeared on the dueling platform. It was a young man dressed in white, his body surrounded by a terrifying aura of lightning. There seemed to be a lightning rune between his brows, like a vertical eye of lightning. Xia Ping, Wei Han will take you on. Don't think that you'll take advantage of Miao Wushuang's carelessness to launch a sneak attack a second time. With me here, you're done for today. The man in white called himself Wei Han. He'd wanted to continue observing before making a move, but this kid's reputation was like the sun in the sky. The new students were starting to look down on the Central Universe's geniuses. Thus, he couldn't hold back any longer and decided to make a move immediately. He wanted to take this kid's limelight a little and completely suppress him. Many people immediately cried out when they heard this. Wei Han. He's the descendant of the Wei clan, a famous sage family among the outer disciples. This kid is a true genius. His battle prowess is at least among the top 10 in Qingyu City. He's much stronger than that fake Miao Wushuang. I didn't expect him to participate in the duel. Obviously, Wei Han was very famous. Almost everyone present had more or less heard of Wei Han's name. Oh, is that so? That makes me want to see him even more. Xia Ping raised an eyebrow. Clang! The bell rang again, signaling the official start of the duel. Kid, speed is the only thing unbeatable in the world of martial arts. Under absolute speed, you can't even touch a hair on my body. You're no match for me, Wei Han. Wei Han immediately moved as soon as he finished speaking. He used his mystique and turned into a bolt of lightning, moving all over the duel arena. This kind of movement speed was so fast that even divine sense couldn't detect it. Many people could only see streaks of silver lightning in the air. It was like a large silver net that covered the void. It was exceptionally beautiful. Haha, this is Wei Han's famous martial mystique, lightning flash. Once he uses it, no one can catch a trace of Wei Han. He's invincible. Indeed, this mystique is too unfathomable. No matter how strong one's strength is, they can't hit Wei Han. He's already in an invincible position. Isn't that so? But as long as Wei Han finds a flaw, it'll be the end of the enemy. Speed is everything. It's not without reason that Wei Han can become one of the top 10 in Qingyu City. That kid is done for. He's definitely going to lose this time. There's no reason for him to win. Seeing the silver lightning in the sky, many disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu discussed and exclaimed. Chapter 1972. Haha, Xiaoping, you can't see me, can you? Do you feel powerless under my absolute speed? Do you think that no matter how hard you try, you can't hit me? In the air, an arrogant and complacent voice rang out. It's right to feel powerless. This is the power of extreme speed. No matter what tricks you have, you can't stop me. As long as I want to, I can kill you in an instant. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Streaks of silver flashes appeared in the night sky, forming a silver trail. It was like a giant net, covering everything, approaching step by step with unparalleled murderous intent. Wei Han was extremely proud of his speed. He didn't want to kill Xiaoping so soon. He treated this duel as a performance to show everyone how powerful he was. After all, there were many people watching this duel. He could take this opportunity to make a name for himself. Really? Why do I feel that your speed is just SOSO? There's nothing special about it. Xiaoping's face was calm, completely unmoved. Although Wei Han's speed was indeed faster than a superhuman's, it was still slow in front of Yi Futian's golden crow eyes. And Yi Futian could see it clearly. But these words completely infuriated Wei Han, because speed was his forte. Among all the disciples in the Holy Land of Taichu, few were faster than him. But this kid said that his speed was just SOSO. This was simply looking down on him. And he couldn't stand it at all. Kid, you've completely pissed me off. How dare you say that my speed is SOSO? Today, I'll show you what real power is. Have you ever been kicked by lightning? Wei Han was furious. Whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, Wei Han suddenly moved. He couldn't stand it anymore. His whole body turned into a silver flash of lightning, rushing toward Xiaoping, trying to defeat this kid with one blow. Dong! Suddenly, Xiaoping raised his hand and lightly slapped it against Wei Han's right leg. The powerful force instantly sent Wei Han flying. Impossible! Wei Han felt a strong rebounding force from Xiaoping's hand, causing his blood to boil. But what shocked him the most was not this, but the fact that Xiaoping was actually able to block his kick, as if he had seen through all of his actions. What's going on? Why are you able to block my attack? It's as if you can see through my movements. What exactly did you do? He simply couldn't believe it as he stared at Xiaoping. I didn't do anything. You just kicked me, and I blocked it with my hand. It's a very normal thing. Xiaoping said honestly. Bullshit. Wei Han was so angry that he was about to go crazy. Xiaoping's casual expression made him even angrier. His lightning flash was the fastest speed he could muster, and it represented the pinnacle of speed. How could it be blocked so easily? Ordinary people didn't even know what had happened, and were instantly defeated by him. If he wanted to, he could kill any enemy, and they wouldn't be able to resist. But this kid actually said that it was a very ordinary thing. Just how is this ordinary? Good, very good. I've completely underestimated you. In order to show my respect to you, I've decided to give it my all this time. I'll let you know what the ultimate speed is, the speed of light. Wei Han bellowed. Suddenly, his entire body turned into a silver light, and countless light runes intertwined with each other. Swoosh, 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 the entire sky seemed to be filled with countless rays of light, intertwining with each other like countless rays of light. This was the trace left behind by Wei Han's movement in midair. Lightning flash sky. Wei Han's voice rang out. Among the countless traces of light, suddenly, a small, solidified silver light rushed out from behind Xiaoping. Without any sound or presence. The surrounding audience couldn't see any trace of Wei Han. And they didn't know where Wei Han had come from. They could only see the sky full of light, like it was daytime. Swoosh. At this moment, Xiaoping suddenly turned around. In the depths of his golden crow's eyes of hell, he had already seen Wei Han's movements clearly. No matter how big or small, it was impossible to hide from him. Wei Han's movements, in his eyes, were as slow as a snail. He gently raised his hand and punched towards the void. He didn't use too much strength. Dong! This punch accurately landed on Wei Han's crotch. Ah! Wei Han immediately let out a shrill scream. With a crack, it was as though an egg in his body had shattered. An indescribable pain instantly spread throughout his body, as though he was being bitten by countless ants. Such a scream was even more miserable than a pig being slaughtered. Just like that, he fell to the ground without any resistance. He covered his lower body and rolled on the ground. His forehead was also covered in dense sweat. Everyone could see how much pain Wei Han was in right now. No, no, no. My egg is broken. It's completely broken. Wei Han screamed as he rolled on the ground, as though he was a eunuch who had been castrated. When the surrounding audience saw this scene, especially the male audience, their hairs immediately stood on end. It was as though the thing in their lower body had been shattered by Xiaoping's punch. They could also feel such pain, and could completely imagine Wei Han's current pitiful state. Sorry, I accidentally hit that place just now. Xiaoping apologized. Be careful of your grandpa, you dog Xiaoping. You actually used such underhanded methods in secret, shameless to the extreme. You and I cannot exist under the same sky. Cannot exist under the same sky. Wei Han went crazy from anger, loudly shouting. However, because he was too excited, he accidentally pulled the egg. With a crack, it was torn a second time. He was in extreme pain, foaming at the mouth, and directly fainted. This duel Xiaoping wins. At this moment, a mechanical voice sounded, announcing Xiaoping's victory. Whoosh! Suddenly, a ray of light swept over Wei Han, and immediately took his whole body out for emergency treatment. Seeing this scene, countless audience members were in an uproar. Oh my god, that kid is so cruel. Of all places, he specifically hit this place. Wei Han is so miserable. He was actually hit here. Even I'm in pain just looking at it. Will there be any irreparable injuries left? Can he still live? Don't worry. The Holy Land of Taichu has advanced medical technology. Even if that thing is gone, broken limbs can be regrown. I'm just afraid that Wei Han will be traumatized. Yeah, the body can still be repaired, but the traumatized mind is not so easy to repair. Despicable and shameless. That kid must have done it on purpose to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. Chapter 1973. At this moment, the atmosphere among Xian and the others was very solemn. They had lost 2 matches in a row, and they had lost so easily that the kid didn't even reveal any of his trump cards. Damn it! What should we do now? Even Wei Han lost. Didn't they say that only speed was invincible? How come he lost so miserably? Someone gritted his teeth, feeling very unwilling. That's right. I guess Wei Han wasn't fast enough, at least in that kid's eyes. That's why he was able to find his flaws so easily. To be honest, we really underestimated this kid. It's true that he could defeat Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, and Meng Zhenshuan. He's really capable. Although Wei Han and Miao Wushuang lost miserably, you have to admit that these two are indeed capable. They are among the top 10 experts in Cyan Jade City. Even they lost, which proves that this kid's strength is not to be underestimated. We have to admit this. What's the use of admitting this? We still can't beat him. Do we have to admit defeat? Admit defeat? How can we admit defeat? If we lose, we'll lose 50 points, which is a huge sum of money. That's right. We have to find out all his trump cards now. Once we know his weaknesses, he won't be able to jump around anymore. That's right. We have to take this kid seriously. We can't underestimate him anymore. Everyone was talking about it. They had completely regarded Xia Ping as their number one enemy. The 2 consecutive defeats had awakened them, and they no longer dared to look down on Xia Ping. Even though this kid had never been to the Holy Land of Taichu, his combat strength was already extremely powerful among the outer disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu, surpassing most of the disciples. Let me fight the next match. I've already found his flaws. At this time, Xian stood up and said that he would fight this time. What? Xian, you're going to fight? Aren't you going to wait for a few more matches to see how things go? Many people were a little surprised that Xian would fight now. To be honest, Xian was also very powerful. At least, he was among the top 5 experts among the outer disciples of Cyan Jade City. Even Wei Han's combat strength was a little weaker than Xian. After all, he dared to be so arrogant in the Holy Land of Taichu, and he had a group of followers with him, so he had the right to be arrogant. There's no need to watch. Normal people are no match for him. They won't be able to find out anything even if they try to probe him. I'm going to use overwhelming combat power to make this kid submit, and show him that there are countless people in the central universe. Xian sneered. Whoosh! His figure flashed, and he immediately jumped onto the dueling platform, facing Xia Ping from afar. Oh, you're the third opponent? Xia Ping was a little surprised. You still haven't woken up after seeing the miserable state of the 2 of them. You still can't tell the difference between us, and you still have the guts to appear in front of me. What a joke! Why don't you have the guts? Do you really think that you're invincible? However, I'm too lazy to argue with you. I'll let you have a taste of my power. Xian sneered. With a clang, the duel bell rang again. As soon as the sound came, Xian immediately made his move. With a gentle point of his finger, an extremely sharp sword chi burst out from his body and slashed toward Xia Ping. In an instant, a transparent sword chi immediately appeared above Xia Ping's head. It was silent and invisible, and the naked eye could not see the appearance and shape of the sword chi. This sword chi descended from the sky just like that, slashing down from the sky with unparalleled ruthlessness. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes because he sensed that this sword chi was unusual. It was not an ordinary sword chi. It did not have the usual sharp murderous aura, nor did it have the sharpness to tear everything apart. This sword chi was between the real and the virtual, extremely strange. Dong! In an instant, this sword chi penetrated all the defenses on his body and directly blocked his primordial spirit. Immediately, Xia Ping felt that he had fallen into a boundless illusion. He seemed to have appeared in a world of swords, and countless sword chi were rushing toward his body, trying to cut him into 1,000 pieces. Xia Ping, you're finished. You've been hit by my mind sword. No matter how powerful you are, you can't escape defeat. Seeing that Xia Ping had been hit by his sword, Xian immediately laughed, as if he had finally vented his anger. Mind sword was one of the magic swordsmanship that he had learned. He could use his heart to control the sword, and his spirit to control the sword. He had already cultivated his divine telekinesis into a supreme swordsmanship, which could be used at will to switch between the real and the virtual. If the enemy was hit by his mind sword, they would immediately fall into an endless illusion. Inner demons would be born, and illusions would be everywhere. Often, the enemy would unknowingly die to the inner demons. If the enemy had weak willpower, there was no need to fall into an illusion at all. With the supreme sword chi of the mind sword itself, the enemy's primordial spirit could be instantly destroyed and smashed into pieces. This was a supreme swordsmanship that targeted the primordial spirit. It was unparalleled and extremely terrifying. I see. An attack that targets the primordial spirit. However, I am the least afraid of primordial spirit attacks. You are seeking your own death by doing this. Xia Ping immediately laughed. If it had been any other attack, he might have been a little more careful. However, if it was a divine telekinesis attack, other than a sage, even a powerful cultivator at the peak of the Thunder Retribution realm would not be able to do anything to him. This kid dared to attack him with divine telekinesis. It was like an ant trying to shake a tree. He was overestimating himself. With a thought, a large bell immediately emerged from the depths of his primordial spirit. It was his natal magic treasure, the Bell of Chaos. At that moment, the Bell of Chaos rang and shook left and right, triggering waves of terrifying sound waves. Ripples appeared in the depths of the void and swept in all directions. Dong! 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 Immediately, countless sword chi in the surroundings were instantly destroyed and turned into ashes. The entire world of swords was destroyed, as if it had encountered the sound of the end of the world. No power could resist it. What? Xian was shocked. He had originally wanted to use the power of the mind sword to completely detonate the power of the divine telekinesis in the depths of Xiaoping's primordial spirit and blow this kid up. However, before he could do anything, a series of bell sounds rang out. The divine telekinesis sword chi that he bombarded was instantly destroyed. It was as if it was crushing dry weeds and rotten wood. It could not resist at all. Even a series of bell sounds came from the void and directly reached his body, targeting his soul. Bang! 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 In the next second, Xian felt as if his head had been hit countless times. He could vaguely hear the sound of a bell. The primordial spirit in his body was instantly torn apart by the sound waves. Unable to resist. Ah! He immediately let out a shrill scream. Blood flowed from his 7 orifices, and his primordial spirit was injured. He could not withstand such a backlash at all. Boom! You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.